What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 142 for your Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. I'm your host, JD from New York, as always, joined by the one and the only, the man who has and probably could say professional wrestling better than Pat McAfee, the Solid Monster. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I could be the savior of professional wrestling, and you won't have to worry about me ruining the WrestleMania main event either.
No.
I'll just stay out of the way. I'll stay on the side.
Yes. I would much rather see you on television than Pat McAfee, honestly.
Well, I appreciate that. You know what? You know what the real issue though with professional wrestling is? It's not these 5'5" guys wrestling these imaginary 45-minute Iron Man matches that I've never seen before. I don't know what he's referring to. You know what the issue is? Corporate greed.
Yeah.
Pricing your audience out of going to your shows.
A lot of it.
I think that's the bigger issue.
I didn't really understand that 45-minute Iron Man comment either. I mean, we barely get 45 minutes of pro wrestling on a fucking Friday Night SmackDown.
We got 45 minutes in between PLE matches. Why don't you address that as the bigger issue?
Yes, that is.
40. What was the last 45-minute match in WWE that we got that wasn't the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber or War Games?
I mentioned this on the SmackDown review that I did on Friday. It's either Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam or Cena versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel.
Okay, well, you can count them on one hand and still have fingers left over. I'm still wondering exactly. I think he was referring to the wrong product.
Yes, he had to be mentioning the other place.
Yes, which is what's made this so funny. Like, are you looking to save wrestling or are you looking to save WWE? I don't even, like, what he was saying in some cases didn't even really make sense.
No.
I could believe that he went out there and just sort of deviated from whatever it was that they wanted him to say. He was kind of all over the place.
I don't know what they wanted him to say, but he clearly wrote that promo himself and it made no sense. So we're going to go over that for sure tonight because like a glutton of punishment or for punishment that I am, I actually had to go back and listen to that, and I transcribed word for word what this man said on Friday night, and I did the same thing with CM Punk. So we're going to dissect this. We're going to talk about it because there's a lot of fan speculation about what this possibly could lead to now that Pat McAfee is on WWE television again as the mystery caller for Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes is angry. CM Punk is angry. Triple H is angry. Everybody's angry.
Fans are angry.
There's a civil war, Jason, that people think is happening right before our very eyes with WWE management and TKO management getting ready to clash at WrestleMania.
As I said to you in the sound check, there is a civil war going on. It's just playing out behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's not what we are looking at on TV.
Exactly. We're going to get into all that. It's going to be the main topic of discussion tonight right here on Tuesday Night Titans. We're also going to get into some AEW talk. Chris Jericho came back to AEW this past Wednesday on Dynamite in Winnipeg. Not really the most, what's a good word? Resounding ovation for Chris Jericho. I thought I would get a little bit of a louder ovation in Winnipeg, but we're definitely going to talk about that, what it means, what his contract status is, what he potentially could do. He's got his first promo coming up this Wednesday, so he'll actually speak on Wednesday's show. We'll get into that. Dynasty predictions. We got some Mercedes Monet news. She vacated her last living, breathing, defendable championship.
Yes, her money train has been derailed, and the belt collector phase of her career, I mean, I didn't think it would end with a UPS package, but unfortunately, that is how it came to an end.
Yeah. Not a small package, but a UPS package.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah, we'll go over that. There was some controversy with that on why she vacated the championship. But as I said with the coach today, I don't blame her with the way the travel situation is, especially where she was and where she had to go. So I'm not really blaming her whatsoever for not wanting to go and travel. We'll talk about that. Dave Meltzer said something in regards to Mercedes and compared her to Kendall Gray. And apparently Kendall Gray is lighting NXT on fire, and Dave Meltzer thinks Kendall Gray is further along than Sasha Banks was at this stage of her career. We'll definitely talk about that. And we got a bunch more. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be a great show. I feel like we're going to do some great numbers tonight because of this Pat McAfee, TKO, Ari Emanuel situation. We got a lot to say. I've had a lot to say. Jason has had a lot to say. So we're definitely going to have some fun with this tonight. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. 1,000 likes is the goal, always, every single Tuesday night. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go and follow Jason on X and on YouTube. Everything, again, is linked down below. We had Uncrowned again on your end this week, correct?
Yes, we did. Earlier today, episode 9. I waited until after we got the Joe Tessitore announcement on ESPN, so we got the lineups. We'll get into that as far as WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So talked about that, talked about all the key stuff of the week, and then a bunch of stuff that I did not cover on the Sound Off, other news from the wrestling world, including New Japan stuff. There was some pretty big news there as far as a new champion. So a lot of good stuff. So if you did not yet have a chance to listen to it, when you're done here, go look for the Uncrowned Wrestling Show, and it will be there waiting for you.
There you go. I listen to it when I go to Stop and Shop every Wednesday.
I like Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
Don't have one around here, but whenever I'm out on the island or something, I always stop in there.
Yeah. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow, listening to Uncrowned with Jason. I saw you, bro. Number 4, Sound Off was number 4 on the charts this week. I saw you.
Yeah, well, there was another chart. It was number 2 behind Cornette. Son of a bitch. One of these days.
Well, he gave up the AEW stuff, man. You may have a chance now.
I might. It was like a slow week, maybe. So yeah, no, that's it was a good week. It was a good week. So thank you to everybody who tuned in, and always helps leave a star rating and a review.
Yes.
On Apple and Spotify. So yes. I appreciate it.
I'm making a prediction right now for Sound Off 1000. You're going to be number 1.
Man, you know, it's coming up. It's not too far off.
No,
I haven't really given a lot of thought to what that's going to look like. It might just be any old week. I don't know. I have to start thinking about what I might want to do.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I think Jason's going to be number 1. He's going to top Cornette and bust it open, and Chris Van Vliet that week.
Maybe I'll get Cornette on. Then we'll definitely be next. That's a smart idea. If you want to be number 1, just get him on the show.
That's what you got to do.
Guaranteed number 1.
Yeah. So go check that out. I was live with Coach today. He had a busy day. He interviewed Tony Khan with Vince Russo today. Everybody was dissecting that like a fucking science experiment. So go check out what we did on the 2 count today. A lot of great topics, hot button topics we touched upon there on his Behind the Turnbuckle YouTube channel. And make sure you guys get the super chats in. So we find the super chats to be our time to sit down with you guys and just go over any questions, comments, and concerns. And I gotta shout him out because he's always here every single week, whether he's donating or not. My guy, Jason's guy, Havili, coming in with a $250 bomb.
Wow.
All the way from Brisbane, Australia. He's going over the top WrestleMania moments. He lists a couple more here in the $200 bomb. 22 was The Undertaker's last match. 21 was Austin's return match. Number 20 was Cena's entrance with Cena lookalike. 19, Bianca versus Sasha. 18, Bryan winning the WWE Championship, which is criminally low. I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. 17 was Shawn Michaels retiring Ric Flair. Rey Mysterio, number 16, winning the World Heavyweight title. And 15, Savage winning the WWE title. 14, Cody's return. And 13, Kofi Mania.
I like MK Pandy in the chat. I think he's got it right. Uncrowned is better than Unreal. That's going to be a new t-shirt. We got to get that t-shirt made.
Yes, I like that. That's actually very good.
I do like that.
I don't know, man. Bryan, number 18. I know Kofi Mania was big, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's too low.
Yeah.
It was such a... I mean, look, even though we know the story behind it, it wasn't their original plan, but it played out that way, and it was great, you know, and him having to win the opening match to get to the main event, the ultimate underdog. And then when he won, you know, tapped out Batista, everybody lost their minds. And, you know, Michael Cole, the Miracle on Bourbon Street. Like, it was just a great underdog story. And I'm very fortunate to have been there for it. So I was in the middle of that crowd and everybody lost their minds for it. Even after, I remember being on Bourbon Street after the show. And everybody's doing the yes chant all down Bourbon Street. Everyone's celebrating and drinking and having a good time. So, yeah, that should definitely be higher on that list.
Can't forget about that Triple H match that opened the show. That was a great fucking match.
That was a very good match.
Havili comes in with the extra 50 here. He says, I mean Savage winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 4. 12, the reunited of Miss Elizabeth, he says, and Macho Man Randy Savage. 11, Becky. Was that too low?
Too low.
Too low.
Too low.
11, Becky 2 belts when she wins the first women's main event. Number 10, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. That's even fucking low. Jesus Christ. And then we got Edge spearing Hardy off the ladder at number 9. That's a great moment. I don't know if I put that over the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match, but to each his own. That's the list. Thank you, Havili. I wonder what number 1 is going to be. It's got to be Andre and Hogan, no?
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but the way they put together some of these lists, I mean, it'll probably be fucking, I don't know, it'll be I Show Speed a couple years ago at WrestleMania. Or who was the guy that was, oh God, during Logan Paul's match? The guy in the Prime bottle?
Kai Cenat.
No, it was not Kai Cenat. It was KSI.
Oh, KSI. Yeah. I don't know.
KSI will be number 1.
I don't know my streamers, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is he a streamer or a rapper?
Yeah, whatever. I think he was a streamer. He's a rapper. He's a boxer. I don't know. He's a bunch of everything.
Multi-talented.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that'll end up being number 1 on the list. It'll be something ridiculous.
Anyway,
it should be Hogan Andre. Funny you mentioned that because they announced, it was kind of lost in all the noise, that is the Immortal Moment match at the Hall of Fame this year. Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, which I mean is a no-brainer. I mean, you could have made that number 1 last year. It was either going to be number 1 or number 2.
Yeah.
So to me, whatever you think of the match itself, the match, the moment, the slam, that to me, that's still to this day the most iconic moment in WrestleMania history. And the most replayed, just like that to me is the WrestleMania moment.
And that documentary that's coming out on April 22nd, man, I'm very interested in that. They got me with that trailer yesterday.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
Listen, if there's anybody that knows, Terry Bollea knows.
Well, I'm sure it's on the editing room floor if you did share where those bodies were buried. Don't expect too much out of that statement.
No.
They want to get you with the trailer. They want to hook you in, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
How many truths are in that documentary? That remains to be seen. But Bret Hart was in the trailer for about 3 seconds. You're a liar.
I was so happy. I was like, yes, I will definitely be watching this. At least we know we'll have someone to counteract the lies and the untruths that I'm sure will work their way in there.
So we'll definitely touch upon that when the time comes. But again, thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to leave it up to Jason to guide us. It's been one hell of a wild week, man. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, it was one hell of a week. It's not over yet. Why don't we start with AEW? Because they have a pay-per-view coming up this weekend. And once we get into all the WrestleMania stuff here, we're probably not going to stop talking about it. So
no,
we'll go back to what happened in Winnipeg on Wednesday with the big return.
Yes, Jericho returned to AEW on Wednesday's Dynamite in Winnipeg. That was the biggest story to come out of last week's show. He had trademarked the Cornerstone, and we discussed right here last week on Tuesday that it didn't really make sense to trademark something like that when he is a cornerstone of AEW, and what would he be the cornerstone of in WWE? So Jericho showed up. He traveled to Winnipeg. They kept him very secret until right before he went out through the curtain. He was vlogging and getting clips ready for social media. And then there was a report that Chris Jericho, had re-signed with AEW following his Dynamite return, which we'll get into. But let's kind of dive into the actual return, Jason. He came out and he was wearing this purple sparkly jacket, and he was going simply by the name Jericho. Excalibur mentioned Jericho. He didn't say Chris Jericho. It was on the boards, the LED boards. He's got T-shirts with just Jericho on it.
Is this going to be like Cope?
Yeah, or Prince. People were even comparing it to Prince, like he's just going to go all Prince for this latest run in AEW. I mean, if he went Prince, he'd probably just be just a symbol. But he didn't go that far. But he showed up, and everybody popped for Judas. It's a great song. They played the song almost fully through. They sang at least 2 choruses, and he was in the ring, and he was just walking around hoping for something to happen and maybe get the reaction to get louder, and it never came. And then the music died down, and he took the microphone and said, "AEW, I'm home." And then music played, and then that was it. And then Excalibur says, "Well, Jericho's back in AEW. He's home," and on to the next segment.
Well, dude, I mean, he was out there. He was waving his arms around, trying to get the crowd into it. Like, come on. And, they were like, all right. It's like the longer it went, the more awkward it got.
Yeah, the sadder I got, too, watching it.
When he initially came out, he got a good response. And then, It just, as it went on, I think he was expecting something that was akin to like, I compared it to like after WrestleMania when Hogan went babyface and they had shows in Canada. And he just got these like 5-minute long standing ovations. I think he was looking for something like that, and it just never came. So like they were happy to see him, and then it was like, all right, we get it. Like, all right, you're back. It was kind of like it was very awkward, and you didn't really get a sense of exactly whether he's going to be a babyface or a heel or what. My guess would be a babyface, but we didn't get anything. We didn't get any information. I believe he's going to be on Dynamite tomorrow. And it's the go-home show to Dynasty, which is in Canada. It's in Vancouver. So I'm wondering if he ends up having some kind of role or match on that show. I don't know. I don't know who he would even work with.
No, I was actually disappointed with not the fact that he returned to AEW. I was disappointed in the fact that he didn't really say much of anything. Now, we're not stupid. Like, they're going to sell his first promo, which they're doing on Wednesday. And they advertised it almost a week out. But you got to give me something than just AEW, I'm home. Like, give me a little bit of something, just a little bit. They didn't give us anything. And I said to Jesse on Wednesday, it's going to be very interesting to see when they actually, I don't know where they are on Wednesday. Are they still in Canada on Wednesday for Dynamite tomorrow?
I believe so, yes.
So I said,
right
as Jason's checking that, I said, when they leave Canada, it's going to be very interesting to see what the reactions are back in the States for Jericho, because the last time we saw Jericho was last April, legitimately a year ago.
Edmonton.
Okay. Well, a lot of it is going to really kind of come down to what the American audience thinks. The American audience did not want to see him. The last time we saw him, they were chanting, please retire or shut the fuck up or go away. You know, the Learning Tree stuff was just nauseating garbage. But in this case, I don't know if it's a case of absence makes the heart grow fonder, Jason, because I don't think there's been enough time to miss Chris Jericho. It was so bad. You would think that a year is enough time, but it was just so bad that I don't think the AEW fan base is going to forget that easily with what he did the last time we saw him on television. So it's going to be a struggle for him.
I mean, I feel like the AEW fan base will be more forgiving than maybe the average fan would be, especially, he chose them over the other guys. That probably won him some brownie points. So the key with him, and this was the same a year ago, it's the same thing now. You know, he's 55 years old. Obviously, he's in very good shape. He's in better shape than he was the last time we saw him on TV, which I probably would be too if I had a year off. So he looks great. He's obviously not ready to hang it up yet, which is probably why he did not go back to WWE, because that's probably all they wanted him for. And so now the question is, like, how do you use Chris Jericho in a way where people don't get sick of him after 2 months, right? The key to his longevity is to use him sporadically and use him in a smart way. So be very selective in terms of the people that you have him working with and how often you see him on television. Even if he's not wrestling, we don't need him on the show every single week. So I think, like you said, absence makes the heart grow fonder. The less we see of him, I think it'll make things more palatable where people won't be like, oh God, I'm sick of this guy. Get him off my TV. Because the Learning Tree stuff was just atrocious. So you want to just kind of put as much distance, behind that as you can, but just be very selective. Jericho, I think, still has value, but not if he's going to be on the show as a weekly presence. People are going to get tired of it because he can only do so much. If he's on the show every week, what would he even be doing? He's not going to be wrestling every week.
No.
Right? I mean, who wants to see that?
No, we were seeing 4 segments from the Learning Tree every fucking week.
Yeah. I mean, and that was bad enough with the fucking tree in the ring and everything. And hi, guys. I mean, it's like... And meanwhile,
don't forget his New York Minute, man.
Oh my God, the New York Minute. The New York Minute didn't offend me as much because it was just so bad it was good. But the thing with that is, like, dude, like, we never even got the payoff with him and Big Bill.
No.
And Big Bill he's relegated to Ring of Honor. He doesn't even show up on Collision barely, let alone Dynamite. And
poor Brian Keith, where's he at?
Well, Brian Keith is still with Big Bill.
Oh, is he?
But I'm saying but it started with Big Bill. And, Bill, I think Bill could have really been something on the roster. I don't know what his ceiling would have been, but you could have done a hell of a lot more with him than they did. And it's just like, okay, Jericho went away and they didn't know what to do with these guys. So they kept them together as a unit. They're still a tag team, basically. And you don't hear about him at all anymore. And there's got to be frustration there. There has to be, with a lot of different people, I'm sure. On the roster there, we heard from Willie Mack on social media this past week. He's pretty frustrated himself. So that's the big sin of the learning tree stuff. At least if you look at it and go, well, at least at the end of all of this, Big Bill broke away. He beat Jericho, and now maybe he's moved on to something else. No, Jericho's going to move on to something else. Where's Big Bill and Brian Keith going to be? Exactly where they were before.
Banished to a warehouse on Ring of Honor.
It's sad. It's sad because they could have done more with those guys.
So Jericho's back. I thought that they opened the show with him, that we'd absolutely see him at the end of the show. I thought that maybe they thrust him into the Kenny Omega MJF stuff, but none of that ever happened.
No, we don't need that.
No. I don't know what we do with him, who he feuds with, where he fits into the current ecosystem of AEW. I just feel like AEW's just kind of moved on without him.
Look, AEW has outgrown Chris Jericho. Yes. Chris Jericho is a very important part of the growth and success of this company early on. I don't think anybody can deny that. The company has outgrown Chris Jericho. It doesn't mean that there aren't ways that he can still contribute and have value if he's going to be a babyface, for example, because he's wrestled so many of the guys that are there. Ospreay and MJF. I mean, you can go down the list. And I was thinking about, a handful of guys like he and Swerve, for example, have never worked one-on-one, like in a program together. And Swerve just went heel. So if Jericho's going to be a babyface, you could do a Jericho-Swerve feud. You could have Jericho working with someone like Ricochet. You can have, which again would keep him out of the main event scene, but it would have him working with another guy that they've been pushing, hard as a heel recently. A Takeshita or a Kevin. I mean, there's different names that really weren't there. Or at least weren't, as big as they maybe are now, because it's been a year. They said, like, when the show on Wednesday, when he went backstage, he was going around, I think Mike Johnson said this, to introduce himself and shake hands with people because the roster had changed so much in the year that he wasn't there. So there are newer faces for him to work with. The question is, are we going to be sitting here, though, in 6 months talking about the Jericho Vortex? Like, is that going to end up being a good thing or a bad thing for those people? You hope it's a good thing. I don't know if it will or not, but you hope for the best.
Maybe he'll end up feuding with the Death Riders.
Oh boy, that sounds like a death spiral.
I'm sorry I threw that out there, man. Let's quickly move on, man. We don't need to talk about that.
Dude, he already had something going with Daniel Garcia. We've been down that road already. So what do you want him to do? Work with Wheeler Yuta? Work with Claudio? I mean, I feel like we've seen this already.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough to navigate for them. I don't know what he does and how interesting they're gonna be able to make it, but. He's on Wednesday. He'll explain why he's back, and hopefully we'll get a direction of what he's doing. But there was news on his contract. Now, the first thing that I pinpointed was, is this a new deal, or is he working under his existing deal, which we all know was frozen by Tony Khan? And we even alluded to that Jericho might have brought it up to Tony's attention. Let me step away for a little bit, and then he knew what the ramifications of stepping away would be, and his contract would be frozen. So it might have been a decision that he made for himself and not necessarily Tony just taking him off television. But Fightful, I believe, updated something in regards to Jericho signing a new deal. And following his ring appearance, obviously Jericho stayed busy behind the scenes. He filmed additional content, like I mentioned. Jericho's return comes after a period of speculation, with reports having indicated that conversations with both WWE and AEW have taken place in recent months, and AEW sources had expressed a growing belief in recent days before the return that Jericho would be returning to AEW. Now, it was the general belief backstage that Jericho has come to terms with AEW on a new deal, and that's from PWInsider.com. Meltzer said, from the WWE standpoint, I don't know what they told him. I know I was told that they wanted him for a retirement tour. And maybe that's not what he wanted, but I don't know. With AEW, perhaps he was going to get more longevity. There's a lot of advantages for AEW. There's always money. He may have been offered more money in AEW. His money situation is probably pretty great, I would think. He made a lot of money in these years in AEW. I'm sure it came down to money. Oh,
dude. I talked about this on Uncrowned. It would not at all shock me if he used this entire situation to get himself more money and a better deal to stay with AEW.
Sure.
And that would be the savvy business move on his part. Good for him if he was able to get a better deal out of it. Because it was interesting. Tony made a comment earlier when he was asked about Jericho, where He said that it was something that Jericho wanted. He chose to come back to AEW. They had that date on the calendar in Winnipeg Circle going back to last year. And he said that he was about to become a free agent. And this was a decision that he made, that he wanted to stay. So there is some confusion as to whether or not time was actually tacked onto the deal or not, because that's been speculated on now for a few months. But if Jericho really wanted to leave, he probably would have been able to leave.
Yeah.
And so it would not at all shock me if it was like, he's not a stupid person. And I'm sure that he sent feelers if he didn't himself have direct conversations with people over there. And I think the WWE wanted him. They would have gladly taken him, but I think they would have wanted him for a retirement tour. And they would have fed him to Gunther at some point, maybe later this year, next year. I think that's what they would have had in mind for him. One last quick run, and then probably a Hall of Fame induction. And he's clearly not ready to hang it up yet. So if that's what they were offering, and especially if the money wasn't as good, then the choice was obvious. Why would he leave? Like, we've talked about all the extra things that he does outside of wrestling, right? We talked about Fozzy. He leaves for a Fozzy tour whenever he wants to. He's got the Jericho cruise. He books little film roles in like horror movies and stuff. He's got a lot on his plate in any given moment. In AEW, he's going to have a lot more freedom to pick up and go off and do whatever he wants. Is he going to have that same freedom in WWE?
Probably not. I would assume that they told him he can't do half of the shit you just mentioned.
I would assume they wouldn't let him do the cruise anymore.
No.
So there were a lot of reasons for him to stay. More freedom and more money. Why would he leave?
He made the best decision for himself. I'm interested to see what they do with him. I think he still has some value there. I don't know what he does as far as creativity and creative, but if there's somebody that is going to reinvent themselves and do it very well, it's Chris Jericho. So he's done it before outside the learning tree stuff. So We'll see what he's got planned now for us here on
He has
Dynamite.
value in limited doses.
Yeah.
Do not overexpose him.
No.
If you don't overexpose him, then yes, there's value there, and I think people won't get sick of him as quickly. But if he just goes right back to doing the same kind of stuff and appearing every week just like before, the same thing is going to happen all over again.
Yeah. So that was the big story coming out of Dynamite. The other big thing was MJF and Kenny Omega with the title contract signing for Dynasty. I thought they had a very good contract signing. I thought Kenny Omega came off very well here. I thought he was very intense the way he needed to. Obviously, MJF is going to be MJF, and they went back and forth with their particular medical situations.
I was going to say, like, I mean, wouldn't you be intense if your insides, if your stomach was about to explode and you could die at any moment? Because this is what MJF said is the situation with Kenny Omega. Apparently, the doctors told Kenny Omega that his stomach could just explode at any given moment, and that could be the end of Kenny Omega.
Well, I guess if that's the case, I don't know how factual MJF is with that information, but
I don't know why their doctor would clear him to wrestle matches if that's the case.
Well, Kenny Omega said 2 weeks ago that this is the best he's felt in years. Now his stomach is going to explode. Apparently,
maybe like a little alien will come out of it, like in a movie.
I don't know.
Well, you ever see Spaceballs?
I have.
Okay, when they mock that scene.
Yes.
And then the little alien jumps up, puts a little top hat on with a little cane. He does a little dance.
Yeah. I could see that. That would actually make the pay-per-view a little bit more enjoyable at 6 hours.
Oh my God. That would be an all-time pay-per-view moment.
So yeah, they had this.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Yeah, really. So they had this contract signing on Wednesday. I thought both handled it very well. What I didn't like is that this led to a impromptu match for the main event between Speedball Mike Bailey and MJF in a world title eliminator match, which really didn't prove to be much of anything, and it didn't lead to anything, and it didn't leave you with a cliffhanger leading into this week's show. MJF just beat him. Kenny Omega and Speedball kind of embraced at the end of the show. Thank you for coming to my aid, and we'll see you next week. I mean, I was slightly disappointed by it because not only did I not give a shit about the match, we all knew that MJF was going to win. And the only thing that would save them, Jason, is maybe something happens here that gives a little dose of that extra oomph for the pay-per-view match. We didn't get any of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very flat end. I mean, the match was fine, but it was a very flat ending. I think Kenny got a win in the 6-man tag earlier in the show, and I think they wanted MJF to come back and get a win at the end of that show. But then nothing happened, like you said. So it was a flat ending. I mean, the beginning of the show with the Jericho return, at least, was newsworthy. and then the show just sort of ended. So yeah, nothing terribly exciting there, but maybe they're saving something for the go-home show tomorrow. It's the final Dynamite before Dynasty. I don't think they've announced anything for either one of them. I mean, I'm sure they'll be there, but is Kenny wrestling? I don't know if they've announced him in any sort of match. I would assume MJF is not wrestling.
No, I don't think MJF is wrestling.
No.
I haven't seen the rundown. I'll look at it in a bit. But Cope and Christian, they were on the show. Apparently, they walked into the building and said that they were looking to find FTR, and anybody that would get in their way, they would take out. And I mentioned
Christian
this
was going to beat up Renee.
Well, I mean, that would have been one person at least. They opted to go with Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, but they came into the building, Jason, looking for FTR. FTR wasn't even on the show. So
somebody forgot to tell them.
Or maybe they missed their time for their call time. I don't know what happened.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they were stuck in traffic. The airport.
I don't know. That's going to be the tag team title match at the pay-per-view. We'll go over that in a little bit. Ospreay and Pac, they wrestled one-on-one. Very good stuff here. Ospreay beat Pac. More post-match. Jon Moxley, is he a babyface? Is he a heel? We don't fucking know on any given week. So they threatened him at the end of the match with a chair around his neck. Moxley said this isn't personal, telling Ospreay that he doesn't want to make it personal. Death Riders all leave, and Ospreay is there kind of being attended to by officials. So they're wrestling at the pay-per-view. Again, no indication if this is a championship match or not for the Continental title. We hope that it is not.
Well, we do know, actually. We have clarity now because it was made very clear on Collision when they shot an angle and Ospreay came out. He picked up the belt and he said he wants a Continental Championship match at Dynasty. But actually, the logic behind it, I will give them credit for this. The logic behind it actually makes sense. He said that he wants all of the Death Riders banned from ringside. So because it's going to be under Continental title rules, nobody is allowed at ringside. So therefore, the Death Riders will not be allowed to interfere in the match. So at least in terms of the logic, it makes sense. Is the title really the central issue here? Does the title need to be on the line? No, of course not. And I wish it wasn't. But at least they made it make sense as far as why he would want the title to be on the line.
So what happens here? Does he win the championship?
No. I mean, I think Moxley's going to win. And I think Moxley should win. Now, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, on the pay-per-views, have they established that the time limit is more than 20 minutes? Because I know when Moxley wrestled Takeshita, they just flat out said, I think there was no time limit just for that one match. But is the time limit different on pay-per-views for these Continental title matches? Is it 60 minutes or is it still 20 minutes?
I thought they were 60 minutes.
Okay, well, because I was going to suggest maybe we end up getting some sort of time limit draw, but not if it's 60 minutes. But look, whether it's a draw or Moxley just wins, there's no reason for Will Ospreay to win the Continental Championship. But as I was kind of gaming this out in my head, I was like, all right, it's not ideal to beat Ospreay, but it's Moxley. And Tony looks at Moxley, that's his guy. So it's not the end of the world. But you've got the Owen is right around the corner. I don't know exactly when it's going to start. Probably not until June, since we're delayed by 1 month this year on the Wembley show. But I could see a situation, and I'd be fine with this, if Moxley wins, and when we get to the not the Continental, the Owen, we end up running this back in the finals of that tournament, and you have Ospreay beat him in the finals. And when he beats him, he doesn't just beat him, he beats him to earn himself a world title match, which is really the title that matters here. So if they do something like that, I don't really see an issue with that. I mean, again, you don't want to be beating Ospreay too much, but loses the first one, comes back, beats Moxley, gets a world title shot in the UK, I'd be fine with that.
So we're having Moxley win the Continental Classic in December, and then we're going to have him go to the finals for the Owen in June or July?
Well, because, to convince people he won that, shit, they might have him win this. He might go back to All In to try to get the world title back, but then Ospreay stops him. Ospreay's the one who beats him. He gets his win back, and he punches his ticket, and he wrestles MJF.
It's not the worst idea. I'd like to see another Ospreay Swerve match. I don't know.
Sure, so would I. I'd be fine with that too. But I'm just saying, like, ideally, if Moxley's going to win this match, which I would like for him to, because I don't want Ospreay to win the Continental title, Ospreay would have to beat him at some point. You could just do it at Double or Nothing. It doesn't even have to be necessarily in the Owen. Assuming the Owen is going to start after Double or Nothing, do it at Double or Nothing.
Well, listen, it's totally doable. If there's one guy that Tony Khan would probably put over one of his biggest stars in Will Ospreay, it would be Jon Moxley. So he's got free reign to do whatever he wants. So,
and maybe that's why he's been keeping Moxley so strong.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see what happens there. Again, the way you laid it out, I don't mind that. It's a little tiresome that Moxley is in all these major situations and tournament finals, and everybody's got to go through Jon Moxley at some point to get to the next level. But it is Will Ospreay, and he's on his way to winning the World Championship more than likely anyway in August. So, elsewhere on Dynamite, not much. We had a women's 6-woman tag team match here, and we had the MJF speedball thing at the end of the show, which, again, it really amounted to nothing. But we do have a pay-per-view on Sunday, and right now there's only 5 main roster main card matches, and then we have one 0-hour match, which brings the match total for the entire night to 6. So 0 hour, we got Alex Windsor and Marina Shafir going one-on-one. And then the main card is, as of now, Andrade versus Darby. Let's start there. Now, apparently, Darby has made desires to go after MJF in the World Championship to lukewarm reactions every single week. Again, I think we both are on the same page here. I don't really care to see Darby, A, win the World Championship at all, or B, even be in discussion to chase MJF. I feel like he's just ice cold ever since he's come back, and this feud with the War Dogs isn't really doing much to benefit him either. But Andrade, I'm glad Andrade's still in the mix. Who do you have to win this, Jason? Because I know Andrade now and the Don Callis family, they're in like kind of some partnership with MJF. He took a briefcase full of money to take out Darby. Looks like Andrade doesn't want anything to do with this. He feels like it's wrong. They shouldn't be doing business with MJF because Callis promised Andrade a World Championship match, and here he's doing fucking lowbrow work. What do you make of this situation? Does Darby beat Andrade here at the pay-per-view?
Yes. Yes, because the match, the title match in New York at Double or Nothing, it's going to be MJF and Darby, because Kenny Omega and Darby doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Andrade and MJF, I still feel like there's a chance we get that match. I don't know that that's the right place for it, but I don't see Darby losing this match. I think that we're building for an Andrade babyface turn, probably, and leaving the Callis family in the not too distant future. I think that's coming. I don't know when they're going to pull the trigger on that, because they're kind of doing the slow burn already with Takeshita in the same way. But I don't get the feeling that Darby is winning this match and that they want to go with that as a world title match, Andrade and MJF.
Well, we talked about Ospreay and Jon Moxley. Jason already detailed what he'd do there. And it is an AEW Continental Championship match. Jamie Hayter is actually getting the women's title match against Tekla on Sunday. I don't even know how this came about. Tekla didn't even factor into the losing pinfall in the 6-woman tag team match on Wednesday. How did we get here? You know how we got here?
I think we, not really. It was not the match I was expecting. I thought they were going to run back Mina and Tekla.
Sure.
After the way Tekla beat Mina, she punched her with brass knucks. You would think Mina would deserve a rematch. So they're doing Hayter instead. Hayter's not going to win. If Hayter was going to win that title back, honestly, Wembley would be the place for it. But I think the only title she's winning at Wembley is the tag team titles.
Yeah. Against the Divine Dominion of Lena Cross and Megan Bayne.
Yeah, and I think that could be a very good match, and that's fine. So this just feels like, okay, we need somebody in there who can really give, Tekla that sort of hard-fought win that she's, going to need coming out of this. And then, I don't know, Double or Nothing. Maybe Alex Windsor gets the shot at Double or Nothing, and they just kind of go down the line here until Mercedes is brought back to TV and they start getting her prepped, for that eventual match. So Tekla's going to win. I think it could be a very, very good match. I would love to see Jamie Hayter back in the world title scene, but this is clearly a one and done. They're not building her for anything beyond, I think, just this one match.
Yeah, I'd like to see Jamie Hayter win here, but it's virtually impossible to get that outcome. I'd love to see another match with her and Mercedes. I think that would be great, but looks like Mercedes may be coming back for Tekla, which would be disappointing because Tekla's killing it right now. So that's the women's championship match. FTR will defend the tag team titles against Cage and Cope. New champions here? I'm assuming yes, right?
Yeah, it's Vancouver. I had to think about this one just because the first match, Cope and Christian already beat them. But then remember what happened when the match was over. They dropped the man's wife on her head. So, they're coming for revenge. They're in Canada. I don't see it going any other way.
Do we see Beth on Sunday?
I think so.
All right. It's going to be interesting.
Get that big pop. She comes out and she could probably pick up Dax and slam him down. I don't doubt that.
Probably.
So,
I would like to see that happen, actually.
Sure. Yeah, maybe she'll give him a spike pile driver.
And then the main event, Kenny Omega, MJF, AEW World Championship. They are going with the Devil versus the God of Pro Wrestling angle here. This is going to be a tremendous match. Looking forward to this very much. Last time they wrestled was great. It was on Collision. So now they have the pay-per-view aspect and no time constraints. They could go as long as they want and do whatever they want. It's easy to say Kenny Omega could walk out because of the setting here, Jason. And we had the Kyle Fletcher aspect that we talked about last week. I'll get into Fletcher in a little bit here. Unfortunately, Fletcher will not be factoring into any AEW World title situation for the foreseeable future. But I'm going MJF here. I think everybody under the sun has discussed this. It would be a mistake to take the belt off MJF right now when they are doing the best ratings that they've done in 2 years, and the interest in the product is better now than it was all of last year with him at the helm. It would be stupid to take the belt off him. Obviously, MJF's going to retain.
Yes. And it's the right move to make.
Yeah.
Not that either one of us would hate the idea of Kenny Omega being world champion again. That's fine. And Kenny Omega against Will Ospreay, for example, if they did that match at All In, that's a big match. No one is saying that isn't a big match. But MJF, he's in the middle of a run that is working. He still has other opponents lined up. He's the best they got. He's the best heel they got. The right move is to keep the belt on him.
So that right now is the card. I'm assuming with tomorrow's Dynamite, they will add another 3 or 4 matches to the show. I don't know what they will look like, but...
Well, I would imagine Ricochet and Jack Perry might be one.
That would be one.
I could see them running back to the Okada Kevin Knight International title. They had a match on Collision a few weeks ago. Okada beat him, but he held the rope. So I don't know if they're going to run that back. Otherwise, I would think that you would have Jet Speed and Mystico probably defending their trios titles. And then there was one other match that had been teased, and I don't remember off the top of my head what it was. I don't remember.
Swerve is out, Hangman's out, Joe's out. Brody King isn't really in anything right now.
No. But there was something else I think that they had been teasing on television, a direction with some people. I just don't remember what it was. So, yeah, there'll be at least 3, maybe 4 matches added to the show. It's an AEW pay-per-view. You're going to end up with at least 9 or 10.
That's what I wish Coach and Vince Russo would have asked Tony Khan about, the length of these pay-per-views. They didn't really get to that question, but yeah.
He wants to give you more bang for your buck.
He does.
That's what it boils down to. And that means, hey, we want people when they're done to feel like they got their money's worth. And there's no such thing as too much of a good thing.
Sometimes less bang is a good thing, honestly.
You should put that on a t-shirt. Walk around. Less bang is a good thing. No context.
Just less bang. That's it. Speaking of which, I got my guy Dustin making a new TNT shirt. You guys heard it here first, so that's hopefully by the end of the weekend I'll have a rough draft for everybody. So look forward to that, man. A little exclusive merchandise before WrestleMania. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Quinn out. Injury bug has bitten AEW pretty significantly here. This was acknowledged on Saturday's Collision. Fletcher, who is the TNT champion, who I guess he might have been in something at the pay-per-view. I don't know what he would have been doing if he's not hurt. Maybe against Ciampa or Speedball, maybe?
I'm sure he would have been defending that title. But it's funny because they were both hurt, I believe, on the same episode of Collision, but in different matches. So in the case of Fletcher, he was in a tag team match. It was him and Mark Davis against the Rascals. And I don't know if you saw what happened, but it was a very simple, he fell backwards. And when he went down, his leg, I think his left leg, got caught underneath him.
Yeah.
And he finished the match. You could kind of tell something was wrong. He finished the match. And then after that, there were reports that he was walking around in a walking boot, which is never a good thing. And then we got the news that the injuries were, I think Fightful was the one who broke the news that it was a meniscus injury.
Yep.
And apparently other injuries as well, which sounds very ominous.
Well, I'm not really surprised what the other injuries are, but I'm assuming there are other injuries the way he wrestles. So this is a terrible thing for AEW. He was basically in a lot of what they do on TV. So he's out. Jason's correct here. Meniscus injury is reported by Fightful. Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy just returned to AEW in March after more than a year away, wrestling 2 tag team matches. The latest coming on the same edition of Collision where Fletcher got hurt. Fightful's reporting that Mark Quinn may have sustained a tear, but it is unknown to what body part, and he will miss significant amount of time. So this leaves Isaiah Cassidy all by himself again, man. Private Party, man. They cannot catch a break. It's fucking sad. Like I don't know what the hell's going on there. They just got back. They look fucking great. They were in House of Glory doing their thing. They were looking for the challenge of the Hardys. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. It sucks. It sucks because I don't know. It affects both of them. I mean, it sucks for Mark Quinn because obviously he's the one who's hurt. Now he's going to be out. And we had talked about how he got himself into like the best physical shape we had ever seen him in. He was like a monster. And Isaiah Cassidy as well. And now he's all by himself. Now, the last time Quinn got hurt, if you remember, what ended up happening was Cassidy got paired off with the Hardys. That's where Brother Zay came from. And so at least they found something for him to do. The Hardys aren't there anymore. And I just hope for his sake they can just find something for him to do. Just like they've done with the Callis family. When Jake Doyle got hurt a few months ago, it was like, well, I guess we're not going to see Mark Davis much on TV. And to their credit, they have found, reasons to put him on the show every single week. So at least he's active and he's doing stuff. So hopefully they can do the same thing with Cassidy.
Yeah, that's sad. I wish both of those guys the best. Fletcher, he's one of the best guys they got there. He's going to be out for a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. But 2 major injuries there for AEW.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, actually, just to cut you up. But Mark in the chat mentioned that. They're and we haven't really talked about it, but the Hurt Syndicate are coming back. And I think that there have been teases that they might be recruiting a new member. What do you think about Isaiah Cassidy as almost like a protege type for them?
I'd be all for that. I've been saying for years, I love Private Party. I think the sky's the limit for them. We've seen them grow up from babies to where they are now. And I feel like they both needed a change. I was actually slightly disappointed, to be real with you. I was slightly disappointed that they came back and there was not much change outside of physical appearance. Like they are still with the same gimmick and the same shots. I feel like they need to be a little bit more serious. I think that would be great for Isaiah Cassidy. I was thinking maybe Kevin Knight in that role, but Isaiah Cassidy might work out a little bit better, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Knight would be a good choice, too. I just don't know if they want him as a, I was going to say heel or babyface. I guess the Hurt Syndicate is a babyface to most people. Yeah. I don't know if they would be booked that way. Kevin Knight would be a good choice, too. But, I mean, Kevin Knight is in a better spot than Isaiah Cassidy is. If anybody could use something like that, I think it would be Isaiah Cassidy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keeping with the AEW theme, Mercedes Monet. She vacated her APAC Women's Wrestling Championship, and this caused a little bit of a stir on social media. The APAC Wrestling founder responded to Mercedes Monet after vacating the championship. So she vacated the championship. Things went viral. She shared her story in her Monet magazine, and Monet noted that APAC Wrestling was unable to fly her out to Malaysia to wrestle there and was not willing to work with other international promotions in order to find a solution. So this did not sit well with the APAC Wrestling promotion, and they responded to it on social media in a very lengthy post. I don't want to read through it all because it is a lot. He basically said he woke up to a flood of tags. Here's the truth. We tried, he said. We reached out to other promotions. We did not ask anyone to fly our talent in. I have receipts. I even tried to make Malaysia work. End result, North Phoenix Diana didn't get closure, just truth. I know a lot of people, Jason, very up in the air about this whole Monet revolution here and the belt collector gimmick, whether it worked or not, who it worked better for. Did it work more for Mercedes than the people that she actually wrestled? What did it really mean? That's a whole different topic for a different day. But sticking with the main story here, I find it funny how people want to complain about Mercedes. I did my fair share of complaining about Mercedes because I just didn't understand it. I don't know who it was going to benefit. I felt like it benefited Mercedes and Mercedes only, and they didn't really take it to the limit of showcasing these other women and showcasing these other promotions. Sure, it might have had a little bit of an uptick in ticket sales and revenue or people attending these shows that Mercedes was featured on. We know what type of draw she is, but we don't really know what it did for the overall health of women's wrestling. The point being is, if Mercedes dropped all the other championships the way that she had intended, she absolutely had in her mind and in her vision to drop this championship the way that she wanted to, North Phoenix Diana. I don't think this is a problem of Mercedes not wanting to wrestle there. What I do think, and I mentioned this with the coach, is that flying right now, I think she was based in London or England when she had dropped the last championship. She was going to fly to Malaysia from there. The problem is flying now, especially if you're grounded there with what's going on in the Middle East. Who the fuck wants to fly? So I'm assuming, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth here, but I do think Mercedes just kind of said, you know what? It's not worth the risk right now. This is the only option that I have. It's safer for me to do this than fly and take a chance. Who knows what the flight would have looked like if she went to Malaysia and what type of rigorous route she needed to take to even get there to do this. I'm just going to say that it's going to be like, safety first. I don't know why people are all up in arms about this.
Yeah, I don't know that that's it, because, you're implying that she was going to fly directly from London there. I didn't get the sense that this was something that was going to happen immediately. My sense of it is, and according to her, they were trying to work something out and they couldn't afford to fly her over there, which is understandable because it's a very small operation. This is not a promotion that has a lot of funds, that has a lot of money, or a Monet. So I think what it really boils down to, and again, this is just my thought on the situation here, is that it seems to me Mercedes is going to be back sooner than later on AEW television. It doesn't make sense for her to come back until she has lost all of her championships. So put the Owen Hart belt aside. The only belt she had left was the APAC women's title. If, let's say, they know that she is supposed to be back on television imminently, like in a matter of weeks, that may not give them enough time to plan, okay, when do we have this event? When do we have the match? Now we also have to figure out how we're going to afford to fly her over here. I think it's just a combination of the funds and also that they just were not going to have enough time to put this together. And she had to get rid of that belt as soon as possible because she's going to be back on TV soon. And whatever her story is going to be, the downfall of Mercedes, the story doesn't work if she still has one belt left.
Yeah. So
there was a very limited window to make this happen. They tried to make it happen and the money wasn't there and you couldn't do it. There's nothing malicious on either side. Like you said, it doesn't make any sense. The idea that, well, she didn't want to drop the belt. What do you mean she didn't want to drop the belt? She had 13 titles. She had one left. What is it about this title that made her not want to drop the belt? Clearly, it came down to logistics. And a lot was made about this, in part because I think there was some vague posting going on the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling account. I don't know if that's by the promoter or whoever runs the account, claiming that they tried to make it work and kind of refuting what Shaukat, the owner of APAC, was saying. So that caused a little bit of a stir, and they went back and forth. This is not really, honestly, this is much ado about nothing at the end of the day. It's unfortunate that it ended this way because she's been doing this gimmick for months and months and months, and she has one belt left. And of all the belts that she had, the one that she ends up not defending and mailing back is the last one. So it ended with a whimper. It was a very anticlimactic way for this to come to an end. But now she's free. There's no titles left. And whenever Tony Khan is ready to bring her back to television, we'll see her back on TV. I think it'll be imminently. And I think even though she won last year, she's got to be the early favorite to win the Owen again this year.
100%.
Is she not?
100%.
Yeah. And I can see people like, oh God, not again. But I think for the story that they probably are going to want to tell with her, it's the decision that would make sense. The only question is, does she do it as a babyface or a heel? Are the fans going to embrace her as a babyface?
No, I don't think so. Tony's going to want the biggest match for that division at All In, and Mercedes is the biggest female right there in the division. Tony Storm is out, so what is he going to do? He's going to go with his biggest star. So Mercedes is absolutely the odds-on favorite to win the Owen. Yeah, 12 out of 13 title drops is a good batting average. I don't know what people are complaining about.
Yeah, there were people who were like, "Oh, she's not going to drop all of those titles," and to her credit, she did. And some people
thought she was going to drop 0 of the titles and vacate all of them.
Yes, and those people are very quiet. I don't really hear from those people now. She went to Poland, she went to Italy, she was going to all these places, Winnipeg, and she was on her back looking up at the lights, dropping all of these championships. So She would have done the same thing here. We were very fortunate, in HOG. The stars sort of aligned and we were able to make the match happen. And unfortunately, they couldn't give nor Diana her win back.
It's all right. It's not going to be the last time they meet. I'll tell you that.
No.
Speaking of Mercedes, or in this case, Sasha Banks, Dave Meltzer. He mentioned Sasha Banks in a discussion while discussing Kendall Gray, who I think is fucking great. I love Kendall Gray. She's great. Dave Meltzer apparently thinks that Kendall Gray is going to be the best women's wrestler in the United States, the best women's wrestler the United States has ever produced, and that she's already better than Mercedes Monet was at this same stage of her career. Now, I watched the pay-per-view on YouTube, Stand and Deliver. Very good show. I did not go live for it because I don't watch weekly, and I didn't want to really research what the storylines were. I love that women's match. I thought they did great. Lola Vice is great. Kendall, great, and then JCJ, man. JC's getting a little bit better, man. I gotta admit.
JC is going to be getting that call up, I think, after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. It was a very good match, but we had so many blackouts during the match that you would think that the Undertaker was coming out, and unfortunately, there was a little slip there where they didn't get it in time, and boy, she was coming out of her top. Basically, it was a wardrobe malfunction, but it just kept happening. So I'm like watching the live chat because, like you said, it was on YouTube.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, why is it blacked out? I'm like, are you fucking blind? Like, can you not see why they keep blacking out the screen? It seems pretty clear to me. They did it like 5 times.
They did.
So that was unfortunate. But no, JC looked good, and I thought it was a very good match. Now, we had talked previously about this when Kendall lost at New Year's Evil. There were some people, and you may have been one of them, who was like, you would have put the belt on her. And I was like, they're going to run it back at Stand and Deliver, and she'll get the belt then.
Yeah.
And so they ended up giving it to Lola Vice, which I could kind of understand because Lola has had a lot of opportunities at the championship and has failed every single time to win the belt. So I guess in her case, it was kind of like put up or shut up time. And like you said, Kendall is great. She's young. When she's 23, she's going to have a lot of other opportunities. And she may well end up being the greatest, female product to come out of that developmental system. Time will tell. She's very good. I don't think anybody is looking at this as any sort of slight on her. She's going to be just fine. But for Lola, it kind of felt like a now or never situation.
Yeah, you can't hate on Lola. She's been putting in the work. You got to be rewarded for that work. If it was a one-on-one match, sure, put it on Kendall Gray. But Lola can't hate on that decision. Meltzer says she's going to be the best women's wrestler this country has ever produced. She's way better than Mercedes was at this same stage, which is a lot coming from Meltzer because Mercedes is with AEW. I'm not saying she's going to be the biggest star, but in the ring, who's even at her level of wrestling in the past, present, or future? There's nobody. Meltzer said that the match featured great amateur wrestling, the match with her and Lola on the Go Home show he's talking about. Great amateur wrestling and amateur MMA transitions from both women, and praised Kendall Gray's level of ability given how early she is in her career. Brian Alvarez also praised the match, who he hates NXT, by the way, and said both women have had great transitions throughout. Noted that Kendall Gray did a Northern Light suplex out of a guillotine choke to create the disputed finish that set up the triple threat match with JC Jane at Stand and Deliver. If you guys don't know the backstory of Kendall, she's a former 3-time NAIA champion from Life University and was a finalist for USA Wrestling Women's Wrestler of the Year and won that award in 2023. She signed with WWE as part of the NIL program in January of 2023 and has been developing on the NXT brand since. She started obviously in Evolve and then got called up immediately to NXT. I don't know if this is a fair comparison, Jason, because the Four Horsewomen are incredibly special, and they did something that kind of kickstarted where we see women's wrestling today. It's all attributed to those 4 women, Mercedes, Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley. It all started in NXT, and that's what really got that women's revolution started. Mercedes, I looked into this because I just wanted to see where she came from, where she trained. Chaotic Wrestling back in 2008. She signed with WWE in 2012. This was before the advancements, obviously, of the Performance Center and then NXT with Full Sail. So she had 4 years of experience before jumping to the WWE. She had to jump to the WWE and basically relearn everything all over again because WWE wants you to do it their way or no way. And Meltzer is comparing Mercedes and Kendall at the same stage here, while Kendall immediately came from the NIL program out of college and is learning WWE the way WWE wants right out of the gate. She didn't do the indies. She didn't go fucking, live life on the road as an independent contractor, work in the indies. She just went right to the WWE system and had the best handed to her. Is this a fair comparison? Because we all know Mercedes is a Hall of Famer, but Kendall is fucking great and the sky's the limit. What type of comparison is Meltzer making here?
Well, I mean, I'm confused as to why he would even think to bring Mercedes up. Was this a question that somebody asked him and he was responding to a comparison between those two? No,
he was just talking. He was reviewing the match with Lola on Wednesday. And then all of a sudden he brings up Mercedes and how great Kendall Gray is.
I don't really get the comparison because, like you said, their backgrounds are very different. So I don't, like, when I think of Kendall Gray and I'm thinking of, like, okay, how great she is at the level that she's at, I don't know why Mercedes would even come up, or Becky or anybody else, frankly, would even come up in the conversation.
I don't know.
So, no, I mean, as an athlete, she's clearly light years ahead. But sure. I mean, in terms of her being better than Mercedes at this stage of her career, I mean, he may be right. In terms of her in-ring ability, I would say he's right. But the way that you're kind of describing it here and saying it, it almost makes it like he's kind of healing on Mercedes. Like, oh, she's so much better than her. And I'm like, okay, but like, where is the comparison coming from?
Well, they did the same thing with Cora Jade when Cora Jade was in NXT. She's the next Mercedes or the next Sasha Banks. I hate when people do that because you're already putting these fucking immense, huge expectations on somebody when there really is only ever going to be one Sasha Banks or Mercedes Monet. Like, well, remember you can't do that.
Remember that that one period? Okay, it had to be 2016, maybe. We went through that one period where there were some fans who were like, oh man, Dean Ambrose is like the next Stone Cold. I remember that comparison. And I was like, excuse me? And why would you do that to someone?
I don't know.
Oh, this person's the next Austin. This person's the next Rock. Like, do you know how like awful that is for that person to make that sort of just impossible comparison? Like, you're not doing them any favors when you do that.
No, look at what they did to Ricky Saints. He had that fucking stupid Rock concert in the middle of the ring on NXT. They eventually ended up deleting the fucking clip from YouTube because it was so thumbs down on YouTube. And everybody's like, he's not the Rock, I guess. Well, you the fucking idiots that compared him to the Rock in the first place.
Well, to be fair, it was actually Copeland who made that comparison. And that was not a good look for him in that promo. He did not come off well in that promo.
No. So that was Meltzer. He compared Kendall Gray and Mercedes. You guys make of that what you want. They're both great in their own right. Kendall's fucking fantastic, and Mercedes is a Hall of Famer. So I'm assuming that by the time that Kendall gets to Mercedes stage at this point, after 12 years, she'll be a Hall of Famer, is what Meltzer's saying. I hope.
Well, she'll be in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame.
Yes. If that amounts to anything in life, I don't know. We'll see. All right, man. The main event here. Let's start with Friday Night SmackDown, and then we'll kind of bleed into Monday Night Raw. Yeah, we have to. We have to.
Must we? You know how awful that show was on Friday?
On a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, how awful was it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably about a -4. Like, I hated that show.
Oh, my God.
People are like, oh, well, I mean, you're just saying that because of the opening segment. No, I'm saying because on the whole, like, the show is awful. The show is awful. And there are a lot of people, by the way, who owe an apology to Brian James.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of people who seemed to put it all on him and seemed to have this idea in their head that, you know, when he was gone and he quit and he left, oh boy, things were going to be different. And it's been a month now. And somehow it feels like it's actually gone backwards and gotten worse. So, yeah, it's a collective effort. It's not just on any one person. It's just a bad television show. And it's not a good time for SmackDown to be in the dumps like this when you're only a few weeks out from your biggest show of the year. And it doesn't help, of course, that it's 3 hours long. I said this the other day. I'll take a bet because people are like, oh, NXT. I hear so much divided opinion. Like, you've seen it sometimes. You guys got to watch NXT. No, we don't. If we want to, we will. But there are people who love it and there are people who detest it. And they think it's just a terrible television show. It's the weirdest thing, even more so than like Dynamite. Like, there's such divided opinion. But even if NXT is as bad as some people think it is, it's still not worse than SmackDown. You know why? Because it's 2 hours. And I will take a bad 2-hour show over a bad 3-hour show. So SmackDown is no good. And when they opened the show with this angle that they opened with on a Friday, this was not the best way to kick off the program.
Well, we'll get into that. Let's kind of dance around that. We'll save that for the end here. There were a couple other things that happened on SmackDown that I want to touch upon. First of all, Rhea Ripley and Michin had a decent match. Again, the lack of excitement surrounding Rhea and Jade going into WrestleMania is very palpable. I don't really give a shit one way or another. Rhea Ripley now has the backing of EO, and I'm still sticking with Bianca coming out at WrestleMania, and I feel like it's eventually going to be 3-on-3 post-Mania. So that's what they did there. Michin actually gave Rhea a very good match on Friday nights, but it didn't really amount to anything. So EO came out for the save, and we got that tag team match the way we got it on Monday between Rhea, EO, and Michin and B-Fab. The one thing here, Jason, that made me fucking laugh hysterically, and not in a good way, is the Lantern. For months, we've seen the Lantern battled over the Lantern, the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, for a match between Tama Tonga and Uncle Howdy. Solo Sikoa is obsessed with the Lantern. Tama Tonga wants nothing to do with the Lantern. He feels like the Lantern is dividing the MFTs and splitting the family right down the middle. So he has this match with Uncle Howdy on Friday, and Uncle Howdy wins via pinfall, and Tama Tonga is so upset, he takes the Lantern from Solo Sikoa's grasp as they have this little mini tug-of-war in the middle of the ring, places it on the apron, and then Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six, Jason, they finally gain possession of the Lantern after Tama Tonga, after all these months, hands it over easily.
Yes.
Goodbye, it's over.
Yes. Except it's not.
What?
You say it's over, but it's not.
Well, Solo did say we need to take them out once and for all.
Yes. So don't tell me that it's over, because Solo Sikoa said later on in the back, we got to take out the Wyatts once and for all, which means it's not over yet. Hopefully the Lantern stuff is over. So yeah, I laughed at just how comically just easy it was. Like, he took possession of the Lantern and even he looked shocked. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be mad at it, though, because I'm just glad that that aspect of the story is finally over. But we're not yet done fully with the MFTs and the Wyatts just yet. I don't know if we're going to get some kind of big... Like, didn't we already get some sort of... We got a Survivor Series match. Didn't we get like a big Survivor Series elimination match? Okay, so what else? What are they going to do? What kind of match are they going to have?
I don't know. Again, I thought the Lantern was going to be hanging above in a ladder match of some sort, but what could we do? Hell in a Cell? Imagine they saved the Hell in a Cell for the MFTs and the Wyatt Six. Yeah, that'll really get your blood going.
Just end this.
It's awful. It's awful television. This is just one aspect of how awful the show was. What I did like, Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, Lil Yachty, and Carmelo Hayes. They had a segment. I know Lil Yachty had a little back and forth with fans on social media in regards to some AI graphic that was made. I think someone made an AI graphic of the poker table image with Triple H and everybody that's been featured in these WrestleMania vignettes.
Or rumored, yes. Tom Brady was in there. Jelly Roll was in there.
Yep.
I Show Speed was in there.
It was great.
McAfee was in there.
I didn't see any AI alteration whatsoever. I thought this was a legit photo.
Look, some people are very good at Photoshop. So, I mean, it could have just been their faces on their bodies. I mean, who the hell knows? I got a chuckle out of it because it's true.
Yeah.
It feels like Celebrity Mania with some wrestlers sprinkled in a little bit. Because look, WrestleMania has always had the celebrity aspect to it, going back to the very first one. I'm not denying that, but you can't tell me that this feels different or this doesn't feel different. Like, it just feels like it has infected every aspect of the show as we build to this WrestleMania PLE, where it's not just, oh, these people are going to be making appearances at WrestleMania. Dude, they're on the show. Every week, they're in angles. They're in storylines. They're taking bumps. Some of them are in matches. Like, it's insane. It is Celebrity Mania. It's out of control. So when I saw that image, I said, you know what? That kind of makes sense. They should have made that the poster. Maybe they sell more tickets that way.
Probably.
But the Lil Yachty thing...
He did get a little up in his feels on social media.
He did.
And nobody was criticizing. I wasn't criticizing. I don't know if you had a problem with it. I have no problem with it. I thought him and Trick Williams was actually he fits Trick Williams' act like a glove. I thought he did great.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I think people were upset because of just the overabundance of celebrities and the celebrity influence overall going into the show. It's like, okay, we just added another one now. I think that's what people were upset about. I think he was taking issue with, like, don't tell me I'm not a fan and I haven't been watching for so long. And I'm like reading
Don't
this
take
and I'm
my
like,
moment away from me. I'm like, all right, bro, what did you do in the
my
business?
WrestleMania moment away from me. And I'm like, I'm watching this. I'm like, can you see what's happened here? Like, this is what this is degenerated into. Why are we even talking about this instead of focusing on the actual show?
So Carmelo wanted a United States Championship rematch is basically what this all boiled down to. Sami Zayn was in the ring. He was being harassed by Trick Williams there. Give him his match. Let's get the match underway. He does have a point. So Sami eventually gave Carmelo the rematch. And the week prior, Sami won the championship due to Trick Williams using a foreign object and inadvertently hitting Carmelo Hayes. Now, everybody questioned, is Carmelo Hayes losing the United States Championship because they're going to put him in this match and this dilemma with Sami Zayn and Trick Williams? Is it going to be a triple threat match? So I thought coming into this that maybe Carmelo and Trick gets a one-on-one match, Melo wins, and then he gets added to the match and makes it a triple threat match. Or maybe he just gets added because he got fucked over. He had two different avenues to get him in the match. So, Jason, what they do here is they give him a match. He sells a knee injury for most of the match. He does a frog splash off the top rope. He sells the knee, and it eventually leads to a clean finish with a haluva kick. 1, 2, 3, and Sami Zayn wins. And then he gets laid out at the end of the show by Trick Williams and Lil Yachty. And Carmelo Hayes has no WrestleMania match with 2 SmackDowns to go. I don't like the way this is going.
I had people telling me it wasn't clean because he wasn't ready. Yes, because the referee was checking on him in the corner and his attention was diverted, and Sami Zayn took advantage of that. And so apparently that constitutes a non-clean win.
I think those people need to fucking clean their eyes. It was a clean win.
It seemed pretty clean to me. I didn't see Trick Williams get involved. I didn't see any foreign objects getting involved. So, yeah, I mean, they had an opportunity coming into this show on Friday, this past Friday, to simply add him to the match because this other person who had nothing to do with that match got involved and cost him the championship. It was right there. And so instead, they did the match on Friday and he got beat clean. Now, they may still add him. There is still time to add him to the match. But even if they add him, and look, I hope they do. For his sake, I think it would be too bad after the run that he had.
Yeah.
And really, he's been one of the people carrying this show, at least in ring, over the last few months, if he wasn't involved on the pay-per-view in some way. But even if they add him at this point, it's going to feel hollow, won't it? It'll feel like a charity case, almost like they feel sorry for him, whereas at least there would have been a legitimate reason last week.
Well, what type of precedent doesn't set when he's fucking defended this title 9 straight weeks, 10 straight weeks? He's put on some match of the year caliber matches between him and Sammy, him and Phoenix, Aleister Black. He had a whole bunch of them. And he's not going to make the WrestleMania card. He's been the best thing about SmackDown on a Friday night for the United States Championship. He's been one of the top performers in the entire company, maybe the entire industry in the first 4 months of the year. And then he doesn't make the biggest show of the year because they want to put the belt on Sammy to eventually drop it to Trick Williams. Like, all of this could have been saved and put him in the WrestleMania match and then get the result of Trick Williams winning the United States Championship with him there. I don't know.
I owe you one, pal.
Yeah, I owe you. You know what's going to happen? He's going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for a second year.
He already did.
This year he's going to win it again.
Well, and what's that going to accomplish? He'll get a bigger chain to wear around his neck this time. Whatever happened to Dre? He was wearing Dre, and then one week it just disappeared. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's sad. It's ridiculous. We're talking about Lil Yachty and Jelly Roll and I Show Speed and all these things, and yes, it's ridiculous. But think about this: as of this moment, and this could change, but as of this moment, the 2 single women's champions who walked into WrestleMania last year have no match on the card. They're not even on the show.
Yes, Tiffany Stratton and Io Sky. No matches yet. Well, I think Io via her IG stories challenged Asuka to a WrestleMania match, and there's 6 matches on one card and 7 matches on the other.
Well, so here's the update on that. No, that's true.
Yeah.
And we actually got a very good, it was like a pre-taped video package from Asuka last night with subtitles and everything, and it was very good. And then when the show was over last night, Io posted something on her social media, and she invited Asuka to meet her in Las Vegas. She never said WrestleMania, but she said Las Vegas. So I read that, and I'm like, the Raw after WrestleMania in Las Vegas. So,
Oh, no.
but the update that I saw a few hours ago, it's exactly what I think I talked about last week or the week before. I mentioned that Nikki Bella is hurt. She is still scheduled, her and her sister, to be part of the women's tag team title match, but they're taking it day to day because they don't know if she'll be medically cleared to be in that match. And supposedly the reason that they have not yet announced Io versus Asuka is because if Nikki can't go, the plan is to put the Kabuki Warriors in the women's tag team title match, which would leave Io with no match. Apparently that's the idea.
This is an instance. I don't want anybody wrestling injured, but this is an instance where you put the Bella twins in there and you really heavily tape up and fucking boot up Nikki Bella and get Io on the fucking show with Asuka. That's what you do. Imagine leaving her off the show.
Or put Raquel and Roxanne. I mean, you could come up with, or turn it into a triple threat instead of a fatal four-way. I mean, why do you need 4 teams in there? Oh, are you married to 4 teams? I mean, what?
Oh my
God. But it's ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely crazy. I'm watching this show last night, and I'm watching Rhea Ripley held in the corner by B-Fab and Michin and being forced to watch as Jade Cargill whips Io with a kendo stick and then lays her out right in front of Rhea Ripley, which really was the only card they had left to play, I guess, to try to make this like really personal between the two. But it's still sad. Like I'm watching this and then Rhea's cradling Io in her arm like she's dying or something. And it's all melodramatic. And I'm like, this is a hell of a way to make Io look really weak if she's going to have a match with somebody else at WrestleMania. It didn't feel like they were really prepping her for a WrestleMania match. She was being used as a tool for the Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill match. So I guess depending on how things go with Nikki, she may just end up in Rhea's corner, I guess, that would be a real shame.
It's crazy how they like you said, they're married to a fatal 4-way potentially and don't even realize that they could omit one team, make it a triple threat, and then give us Io versus Asuka. How simple of a fucking solution this is, and they're making it feel like some fucking mathematics problem that can't be solved. Like, come on, bro.
We're going to shoehorn the Kabuki Warriors in there if the Bella Twins can't go. Like, dude, you got 7 matches on one night. You got 6 matches on the other. I know they have to do the Hall of Fame intros and all that too, but just book the fucking match, dude. Like, there's a story there. Io Sky's one of the best you got, right? They're fighting over Kyrie. They've been playing this out for months. Just do the match. Make it official. But when I saw that this morning when they announced the full lineups and it wasn't a part of it, I was like, uh-oh, something's going on here.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Aleister Black beat Matt Cardona. Another loss for Mr. Cardona. Nothing really to say there. What'd you think of the referee getting cursed in the tag team title match between Miz, Kit Wilson, Damian Priest, and R-Truth? Did you find that to be humorous? Because I had people on my end telling me, that was the best part of the show, JD. You didn't laugh? Ha, ha, ha. And I said to people, well, if the show was actually good, and then we got that segment, I would have been more prone to laugh in a good way. But seeing the tag team titles in this type of situation with the referee cursed and then holding up an arm injury because he can't make the 3 count for Miz and Kit Wilson, I didn't really laugh in a good way. What'd you think of that?
Well, dude, I mean, the tag team titles are dead. I mean, you got to let this go. Like, the tag team titles on Raw mean nothing. The tag team titles on SmackDown mean nothing. As long as they keep these titles separate, they're not going to mean anything. They put no great emphasis on at least their men's tag team division. So the tag team titles are dead anyway. The tag team titles right now are being held by 2 single stars on both shows. Okay, so that tells you everything you need to know. It didn't bother me. I was amused by it, but like you, I would have been more, I guess, tolerant of it if the rest of the show wasn't so horrendous.
Yeah.
Because it's fine to have some comedy relief on the show. And the stuff that Danhausen does, like, he's very good at what he does. So I don't mind him being the comic relief on the show. But when the other 2.5 hours, by and large, is so fucking terrible, and then I see the referee, like, oh, with the fucking arm and everything, like, I was amused by it, but I would have been more amused if at least the rest of the show gave me some really good, like, serious stuff to really appreciate.
When that's the best part of the show, chat, then you know SmackDown is in some deep shit, honestly.
I'm pretty sure Danhausen put a curse on the creative team at some point.
He had to.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I'm convinced.
Anyway, the big thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, we saved the worst for last. is Randy Orton, Pat McAfee, and Cody Rhodes. Now, we all came into this. It's got to be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, it makes the most sense if you're going to go with a full-time guy that's not named Dwayne, okay? Because Dwayne would have made sense. He's not going to be back on weekly television. Kevin Owens makes sense. People were like Ted DiBiase Jr., Bob Orton. We had Arn Anderson.
Who wants to see that?
People.
Who is begging to see Ted DiBiase Jr. in this fucking
Out of
angle?
shape Ted DiBiase Jr., mind you.
Oh, my God. Give me a break. All this fake outrage. Oh, it should have been Ted DiBiase Jr. Like, no one is begging for Ted DiBiase Jr. to be part of this angle.
Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, even Vince McMahon was mentioned as a possibility for this mystery phone call.
Yeah, by brain dead people.
Yes. So, Randy Orton, he was out there. He had cut a
Why don't
promo.
you dig up Ed McMahon? You could put him in there, too.
Ed McMahon would have been better than fucking Pat McAfee.
Yes, it would have. Yes.
So, Randy Orton's in the ring, and he's going over about what Stephanie McMahon told Cody Rhodes in the ring on Monday night at Madison Square Garden. She was not lying to you when she said that you could not beat me. She was not lying to you, and the voices in your head are saying the same exact thing, and I know it. They're saying you can't beat me because, Cody Rhodes, you're not a killer. What you have awoken inside me, there's no putting it back to bed, says Randy Orton. So Cody comes down to the ring. He makes a beeline to the ring. They start throwing blows at each other, one after another. And then legitimately, all of a sudden, Pat McAfee gets into the ring like he's fucking dazed and confused. Cody turns around to look at Pat McAfee, and then he delivers a kick like he's delivering a fucking punt right after a fourth and fail. Right to the balls. He kicks him in the dick. So Pat McAfee kicks Cody in the dick. Cody goes down. There's a chair shot to Cody's back. They start putting the boots to him. And then he cuts a promo. It's all stopped there. So my initial reaction was, legitimately, Jason, I'm on the couch drinking my latte. I'm like, what the fuck? What was your initial reaction when you saw Pat McAfee out there?
My initial reaction is I can't wait to see the meltdown online because most people probably felt the same way that I did, which is, okay, they actually went with probably of all the options that you could have thought of, they probably went with one of the top 3 worst options that you could think of. They went with one that really didn't even make any sense. Our problem was that we were trying to make sense out of who the other person could be.
Yeah, fuck us.
Is there history there? Is there some sort of connection there? That's our problem. We don't think like WWE creative does. Although to be fair, and we'll get into this, apparently it wasn't an idea that came from creative. It came from above. But yes, we have to start learning how to think like these people do, where it doesn't matter if it makes sense. You could just pick something or someone out of thin air and then try to make it make sense after the fact.
Well,
that was our problem.
If we thought like WWE and then projected like WWE, I don't think people would be interested in listening to us anymore.
No. There's a gazillion other shows like that you could listen to.
1,000. Nobody wants to be them. We don't want to be them. I mean, if you want to be them, God bless you. So listen, I transcribed this. I gave you guys the entire promo here, word for word. And we're going to go over the best parts of this here. He goes on and mentions the Rams, the Blues, and the Cardinals. They're all ass. He calls Adam Pearce, foreign Adam Pearce, shut up. Hey, doofus, you might wonder why I'm here. I just kicked Cody Rhodes directly in the balls about a month ago. I was doing a Q&A, and I was asked when I was going to return to WWE. And I said, I thought the business had passed me by. This business that I loved since I was a kid, I could no longer watch. I thought it was absolute shit. Randy called me. Randy called him. He said, the business didn't pass you by. It's just gone in a direction that none of us like. And I thought to myself, who's us, Randy Orton? And he talked about the forgotten WWE fan, the Attitude Era fans, and he starts doing the what chant, and he starts doing if you smell.
For that reason alone, fuck Pat McAfee. As soon as he started doing the what chant and encouraging the what chants, I said that's it. This promo has already gone off the rails.
Yeah. The ones who walk around, and he does the rock, and he does the what chants. The fans that put this company on their back to launch it into a multi-billion-dollar world universe that is now, we have been forgotten about. When I turn on WWE TV, I have to watch, he says, 2 5'5" guys do a 45-minute Iron Man match 10 weeks straight for no rhyme or reason when Randy Orton is around. Now, I don't know what show he's watching, but 45-minute Iron Man matches, don't exist in WWE. And we barely get 45 minutes of actual pro wrestling on any given Monday night. I don't know what the fuck he's watching.
I think Pat McAfee just told on himself. I think we know what he's watching on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's what I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
He was at this might have been shots fired at AEW. I'm not really sure. So he says, why do I turn on Netflix and see all of the gorilla position circle jerking themselves episode after episode when Randy Orton's around? And then he says this, which is just fucking mind-boggling. Because I never thought in 1,000 lifetimes we'd be selling. Vince McMahon would fucking roll over in his fucking grave if he heard this. Tickets to WrestleMania are still somehow available when Randy Orton is around. SmackDown, fresh off the worst rated episode of all time, which, by the way, he was mentioning the previous Friday. The episode that aired on Friday is now the new lowest episode of all time. Lowest rated episode. So, fresh off the worst rated episode, has a puppet for a champion, a man that represents everything we hate. Kick his ass, Randy. Kill him. And then he goes on to say, we need to kill everything. It's not just for the 15th world title. It's because the business that you're leading, Cody, is terrible, and he's going to save the fucking business. Now, Jason, this is the one thing that I really kind of zeroed in on when I was very impassioned on Friday. We went from John Cena last year, killing professional wrestling, to Cody beating John Cena at SummerSlam, saving professional wrestling, and winning the WWE Championship back, and we got the John Cena of old back. Then he takes the championship to where we see it now, and now apparently we're to believe that Cody is the one killing professional wrestling. What is Pat McAfee talking about here when Cody Rhodes is basically the living, breathing embodiment of everything that is professional wrestling that WWE currently employs?
Well, I want to point something out to you. Just the laziness of this entire situation. WrestleMania this year is back at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
WrestleMania this year is back in Las Vegas. Cody Rhodes is once again walking into WrestleMania in Las Vegas as the WWE champion. Cody Rhodes is wrestling another legend who's going after title number blank. Last year it was number 17. This year it's number 15. Right? There's a lot of similarities in the story. Cody got kicked in the dick last year. Cody got kicked in the dick this year. It's almost like copy and paste. And instead of, I guess, Travis Scott, we're dropping in Pat McAfee in this situation. Like, just think of what you just said. Okay? Think of, like, to recap here. Pat McAfee showed up on Friday night. He said that the product sucks. The talent sucks. The champion sucks. WrestleMania is not sold out yet. SmackDown's ratings hit record lows.
This is ridiculous.
This is what he said. This was his promo on Friday night. And explain to me how this is supposed to get people to want to tune in now to see WrestleMania. Or if they are trying to sell tickets, how this is going to inspire people at the current prices, no less, to go ahead and buy their ticket and book their flights to go to Vegas for WrestleMania.
It doesn't do any of that for me. I'll tell you that. I'm less interested in this now as a viewer who's not even going there for WrestleMania in the entire operation.
I've seen some bad promos before in terms of how counterproductive. I don't know that I've seen a promo or a segment as counterproductive as the one that we saw on Friday, because he's out there and he's, celebrating the Attitude Era, the days of Austin and Rock and where have we gone. And look, we hear that sentiment from fans. I'm not saying that that's not a legitimate sentiment. There are people who feel that way, who wish they could return to those days. But you and I both know we ain't going back to those days. So I'm wondering what the end goal is here. If we're not going back to that, like once we get to WrestleMania and beyond, like what is the criteria for saving the business or saving the company? Like we know it's not going to be any different 2 months from now. It's going to be the same WWE product. All you did was go out there on television and tell everybody that it sucks, which, by the way, if anything, is maybe going to get them cheered more than booed. So I'm just looking at this going, I'm in awe. Like my jaw dropped and I'm listening to this and I'm like, this is really being said here on the television show. Everything sucks and we have to save the business and go back to the way it used to be, even though we know it won't. Bro, and this is supposed to inspire people to want to tune in to see WrestleMania this year.
Bro, you've been doing podcasting for almost 20 years. I've been doing podcasting for at least half that. In all of your 20 years almost, have you ever seen a WrestleMania build with the premise of WrestleMania tickets aren't sold out yet, everything fucking sucks? Have you ever thought in 1,000 lifetimes that the Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton match, bro, that we needed one singular fucking story between two historians, two legends, like two great storytellers between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, their match being sold on the premise that Cody's a shit champion and WrestleMania isn't sold out yet because Cody's a shit champion. Have you ever thought in 1,000 lifetimes that we'd be here in 2026?
No, I mean, I've said that before in the build up to some WrestleManias. This WrestleMania is not sold out. This product sucks. That sounds like something I might say at different points in history. But no, because the story was right there. The story was right there. You had two guys with a rich history and they've kept them apart. And so now we're getting the match. And I think we both felt the same way about that initial angle a few weeks ago when Orton, bloodied him up and everything. That was a really well done angle.
Yeah.
That's how that's how you put heat on things. But like, they were never going to boo Randy Orton, realistically. And they're still not going to boo Randy Orton, no matter how hard they try. When I say no one is going to boo him, you'll get a small subset. But like by and large, people are going to want to see Randy Orton win number 15.
Even now, with Pat McAfee being such an eyesore in this angle and Cody maybe getting some sympathy, you think they're still going to boo Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania?
You think that if Randy Orton wins number 15 at WrestleMania, they're not going to cheer their heads off?
I think that they will.
They cheered when Cena won last year. And look at the way he won with a fucking nut shot and a belt shot. And they still cheered when he won.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I know.
Like, you're not going to be able to change. I'm not saying they won't get any heat on Pat or anything like that, but like, it's not going to get the reaction that they are hoping for or going for. And that's a small part of why they did this. That's not the only reason they did this, was to try to get Cody cheered because they don't want to turn him heel. So we got to figure out something else. Because the easiest thing to do would be to turn him heel. But we've talked about why that really doesn't make any sense right now. But they had a story and they were on the right path outside of that one terrible pull-apart brawl a couple of weeks ago. They seemed to be on the right track. And the story was so simple. You had the student and the teacher, right? The mentor and the mentee, almost 20 years of history between these two. People want to see Randy Orton win number 15. He's desperate to win that championship back. It's been 6 years since he's been a world champion. There's your story. And so what they've done now, and we can get into why this is happening, but what they've done now is they have dropped in an element in Pat McAfee in this new story that this didn't need. This story, this match, this main event, this did not need to be saved. But now they've created the narrative that we've got to save everything, not just this match. We got to save the company and we got to save this and blah, blah, blah.
Save us from what? Cody Rhodes? I don't give a fuck what you think of Cody Rhodes. We don't need saving from Cody Rhodes. The only thing we need saving from are the people who brought this fucking angle to life. That's what we need saving from.
Well, that, and you want to go out there and talk about, well, somehow WrestleMania is not sold out yet. Yeah, what we need saving from are the people who were charging these outrageous prices for these tickets. Maybe that has something to do with why WrestleMania is not sold out. But it's like 2018 when they had the McMahons go out there and the show was fucking terrible, dude. We sat through the dark days, okay, of Monday Night Raw. We know how bad it was. We had a reference on Raw last night to a dog food angle that was on SmackDown many years ago, okay? We sat through, we were in the fucking trenches when we were watching those shows. And I remember the McMahons and Triple H standing in the ring and admitting that the show sucked. And what did they do? Who'd they blame for it?
Us.
No. Baron Corbin. They turned it into a story and they said it's Baron Corbin's fault that this show is so awful.
They said we're giving the power back to the fan base, and then what did they end up doing? Nothing.
Yeah. So it's always someone else's fault or whatever. The whole premise of this and the reveal itself was completely ridiculous, and it had all of us asking why. Why would they pivot and go in this direction when they didn't have to? And we're only a few weeks away from the show.
No.
And then comes the news that there might have been outside forces involved, and not just Paul Levesque, that had a little something to do with what we saw.
Yeah. I'll get into that in just a split second. I want to mention, there's no cohesion. There's no consistency with what they did on Monday to what they did on Friday, which is blatant. That TKO and whoever we're going to get into who made the decisions, not watching the actual product. They don't give a fuck what happens on air. They're not watching the week-to-week television. If they did, then they wouldn't have made this inconsistent blunder.
No. See, I think you're wrong there. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not watching, but they don't care.
Sure.
Because it's not about story. We hear so much about the importance of story. We tell stories, right? And all this other stuff. We make movies, all this bullshit, all this nonsense that we hear. At the end of the day, we know what's the most important thing, right? This. Even if it's just short term. We got to sell tickets. We got to sell this show out. We got to do this. We got to do that. That trumps story. Story is not the most important thing. They're not looking at the bigger picture here, where this is going to go 6 months from now. They're looking at it as, oh shit, we're lagging 18% behind where we were this time last year, and we got to sell more tickets. We're less than 2 weeks out from this show, and then there's other ulterior motives involved here. And so I know, let's drop Pat McAfee into the middle of all this. And because Pat McAfee has a daily show on ESPN, and we have this synergy between WWE and ESPN, and the first hour of WrestleMania this year on both nights is airing on ESPN properties. Pat can go on his show and put a little Randy Orton shirt on the chair behind him so that the people watching, who by and large are probably just sports fans who don't give a fuck about pro wrestling, are going to see the Randy Orton shirt and they're going to go, what the fuck is that? But he's got the shirt behind him, and maybe he'll give us a little plug on his show. And somehow this will move an extra 15,000 tickets. That's the logic behind it.
I'd be surprised if it moves 1,500 tickets. I'm like 15,000. Fuck out of here. The point I wanted to make is Stephanie McMahon came out and said that this version of Randy's diabolical. I hate that word because it's been used so much in describing this angle. Diabolical Randy Orton. Cody can't beat this diabolical version of Randy Orton. So you mean to tell me that Randy Orton turned diabolical and heard the voices in his head and became that viper again because he spoke to Pat McAfee for weeks here, who convinced him that the business needs saving? Is that what they want me to believe? The same guy who was 3 years ago, yeeting with Jey Uso throughout the entire yeet phase, and then not even 3 years ago, and then seated at WrestleMania 40, watching Cody beat Roman Reigns to save the company and win the WWE Championship at the greatest WrestleMania that they've ever produced. You mean to tell me this Pat McAfee in this story is the one behind Randy Orton? How am I supposed to believe that? Did anybody think about that before they made this decision?
No, because you're looking at it as a fan. You're looking at it too deeply. You want everything to make sense. You're trying to connect all the dots, and I'm telling you, we're thinking about this the wrong way. They don't think about it the same way. It's just purely business and the here and now, and they're very transactional. We need to sell tickets. We need to bump up numbers. We're going to be on ESPN. We want to maximize the audience. We have corporate synergy. You hear these fucking buzzwords. That's the language that they speak. The idea of, well, wait a minute, hold on a second now, JD. This doesn't really make sense based on what was said on SmackDown 3 weeks ago. So how do we make it make sense? They don't care. They don't care. They don't make those decisions. The creative team would make those decisions. But if the creative team is being overruled and they're getting their marching orders and said, hey, this guy, we want to work him into the story, find a way to work him into the story. Then they got to figure out a way, even if it doesn't make any sense at all. That's why I am not at all shocked by these reports that have come out, that there is genuine frustration, not just from, I'm sure, Triple H, but also a lot of the talents behind the scenes who are very frustrated by this.
Yeah, I'll get into that. Let's start here first. The idea for Pat McAfee even being inserted here came from above, taking a page out of Dave Meltzer's playbook. This did not come from Triple H. People ran with it. Some people did, that Triple H is still behind this. I don't blame Triple H for this at all. Blame him for whatever else you want that you've seen over the last 2 years coming into WrestleMania 40. Triple H is absolutely not to blame from this. Bodyslam.net reported that sources they spoke to suggested the order came directly from TKO CEO Ari Emanuel. McAfee ended up being revealed because Ari Emanuel wanted him there. The reason behind this decision is believed to connect to WWE's broader media strategy, specifically the company's agreement with ESPN around WrestleMania 42. With the first hour of each night of WrestleMania set to air on linear television platforms, McAfee's well-established presence in mainstream sports media makes him a natural fit to help bridge the world of sports broadcasting and professional wrestling for a wider audience. Bodyslam.net additionally reports that Ari Emanuel views McAfee as a star that will help elevate Orton and Cody, which is fucking laughable, elevate Orton and Rhodes' program and get it to a level it needs to be heading into WrestleMania. He's also, by the way, chat, he is Pat McAfee's talent agent and has been on record saying that he believes he has a place in Hollywood and could be the next Sylvester Stallone.
We have the new Rambo, everybody. His name is Pat McAfee.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll see him. Apparently, he's going to be on the new season of Tulsa King. I've heard it's a good show. I don't watch Tulsa King. I guess the new season drops later this year. And McAfee's got a 4-episode arc on the new season. I legitimately, I cannot think of a single thing that I have ever seen Pat McAfee acting in other than WWE television. So I can't speak to his acting chops. But see, this is the problem now. Ari Emanuel, he's this big super agent, besides being the CEO of TKO.
Yeah.
So he's got, when he's looking at this, he is the man representing Pat McAfee as his agent. So he's looking out for his client. He has other interests beyond just WWE in this. And so that's the issue here, right? Is he going to put greater emphasis on, okay, well, I represent Pat, and so we're going to try to get Pat maximum visibility here, and here's one way to go about doing that. And that's great for Pat, but not so great necessarily for creative, because the goals of creative, you would think, are going to be very different than the goals that someone like Ari in this situation would have, or maybe just TKO at large, right? They're two totally different beasts, and they don't really go together. So when you hear stories like this, where you have the corporate end meddling in creative, that will never end well. That is never a good thing. And I'm sure anybody who is sitting in that room on the creative team coming up with ideas when they hear stuff like this, hey, we're getting a message here, this is what we need to do, I'm sure it doesn't make them feel very good either that, you have these other people meddling in their business. Well, but that's never going to work out well.
No. So the corporate synergy is the reason why Ari Emanuel had wanted him in this. The next Sylvester Stallone is quite the ambitious task, being that Stallone has starred in over 80 movies, and as I'm looking now, approximately 43 different screenplays. So I don't know if he's going to be the next Sylvester Stallone. I don't know if he has the acting chops to be that. I said he may be the next Sylvester the Cat, but Sylvester Stallone may be a stretch. I'm not sure. We'll see. Anyway, corporate synergy. So that's the reason why he's there.
Yeah, anytime you hear those words,
synergy,
gag me.
Let's mute that on social media. Corporate synergy.
Yeah. Yes, please do.
So the idea came from Ari Emanuel. The backstage feeling in regards to this is not good.
Well, before you get to that,
yeah,
I don't know if you have it in your notes there, but there was a note from Meltzer that McAfee initially turned this down.
I have it here. Yes, yes. I have a question here for you, because I have a thought onto why he initially turned down the role, but all of a sudden said yes to it. We'll get to that. McAfee backstage reaction. This is coming from Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Johnson reported that the displeasure was not simply about the storyline logic of adding McAfee to a feud between two performers with deep personal history. The feeling amongst the talent was that the match simply did not need an additional element, given everything Rhodes and Orton already bring to the table. The situation was made worse by McAfee's SmackDown promo, which he described as off the cuff and unscripted. Sounded unscripted for sure. The content of those comments did not land well with those watching from backstage, compounding the existing unease about the direction. While we are told Rhodes didn't sell the McAfee pivot to anyone, there was still a feeling of sympathy for him having to carry the additional weight, as one talent said leading into WrestleMania again. The phrase "carry that additional weight" captures the broader sentiment, with talent feeling that Rhodes was being asked to absorb the heat and confusion generated by corporate decisions made above the creative team's level, all while trying to maintain the integrity of one of the WrestleMania 42 top matches. Reports from Bodyslam.net and PW Insider previously confirmed that Ari Emanuel is the reason for all of this. You got to feel for him, Jason, because after what he had to go through last year, and I described this on my end on Friday, I don't want to say it's outright worse because of the place and the setting and the omission of Rock at WrestleMania 41 last year. I'm not going to go out there and say, but man, it is fucking neck and neck on a creative decision of how bad this is. And Cody had to eat shit then, and he's got to eat shit now. And in storyline, we're blaming him, or Pat McAfee's blaming him. And WWE wants him to absorb all this, like Mike Johnson said. I mean, Cody is one of the greatest storytellers that WWE has. He may be one of the best storytellers in the business. And you're asking him to fucking put all that aside to sell Pat McAfee because Ari Emanuel thinks he's the next Sylvester Stallone and they want corporate synergy with ESPN. I understand the business side of it. It's fucking weird. But having Cody asking Cody to do that? I mean, how do you go about that? What do you think he's thinking right now?
Well, do think about it. This is the third year in a row that Cody has had to navigate choppy waters when it comes to the WrestleMania main event. Now, it worked out well for him at WrestleMania 40, but it almost didn't. Okay, that's well documented. So in the end, it all worked out well. But look at how they blew up that whole build to WrestleMania. Then last year, you got the stuff with Cena where it's like, oh, we'll turn him heel. And Rock is there, and then Rock is not there. And so they had to navigate that. And so here we are again. You know, it's like the annual, okay, how can we fuck with the Cody Rhodes main event at WrestleMania? This is becoming like an annual thing now. I'm sure what we saw from Cody on Friday, because we didn't talk about this, but they sent Cody back out there later in the show.
I have the transcription, yes.
Yeah, so they sent him back out there, and you could just hear it in his voice, right? I don't think that was just him like, all right, I got to pretend to be angry here.
No.
There was genuine frustration there. I can absolutely 100% believe that. Because he's been through this before. It's like, oh shit, here we go again. And I'm sure this is a match with Randy that he's wanted to have since he came back to the company, you know, outside of their King of the Ring match. And so now they finally have it, but now it's been hijacked by all this other nonsense that has nothing to do with the history or the friendship or the issue between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. What was one story has now been transformed into something totally different. So if you're Cody Rhodes, yeah, I'm sure he is pissed off about this. And now it's up to him to try to figure out a way to either make it all make sense, or at least try to win the fans over onto his side to try to get heat on Randy Orton and Pat McAfee so that the fans will get behind Cody as if he's some sort of, you know, savior. I guess that's what they're trying to go for. I don't know if it's going to work, but how can he not be angry? How can he not be frustrated by this? His match has been hijacked.
Cody Rhodes, I've never seen Cody Rhodes that angry before. That was a real angry human being in the ring. And Cody, he went on and said this. This is like if Scott Hall and Kevin Nash talked about the third man in the NWO, and instead of Hulk Hogan, it ended up being Disco Inferno. The fact that he mentioned Disco Inferno, I know for a fucking fact that nobody told him to go out there and mention Disco Inferno. He was fucking pissed.
No, but he will never miss an opportunity to go after Disco Inferno. So you know that came right from Cody's mind.
Pat, you stoner, grifter, Logan Paul without muscles, human hat rack, fly by night, you're going to get your receipt. And boy, I felt it. And I should have. You're an former NFL punter. But you and everyone who represents you, and I know who I'm talking to, can kiss my ass. Oh, was that too far? What are you going to do? Fire me? It sure worked out for you the last time. That's what Randy Orton wants for his legacy for 15. St. Louis's own Randy Orton, my mentor, my hero. When John Cena was the angel on my shoulder, Randy Orton was the devil. This was simple. You keep saying it's not personal. Even Stephanie McMahon comes out here, someone who I love and respect, and tells me where I need to go. I need to go there. I need to go to this dark place. I need to become the bad guy. And I hear it. Dark hair, the whole thing. The truth is, better than my excuse usually is, I don't know if I know how to do it anymore. I got 2 kids. I got my dream job here in front of this audience here tonight, and that's what you want. Pat, you tag in all these sites that only exist because WWE's hot right now, and you talk about me coming back to Dallas next year in Los Angeles. That's a record. Year after that, Philadelphia, that's a record. 5 by Las Vegas, nearly untouchable record. And I was wrestling Roman Reigns, John Cena, The Rock, but make no mistake about it, they were also wrestling me. It's simple as this. Match with 20 years of history, 2 of the very best wrestlers to do it, and I'm hearing it. I'm hearing those voices inside my head. Finally, you can't, you don't want to hear what they have to say. So there was news on this promo, and it came from bodyslam.net. Cody Rhodes' promo was unscripted, and it reflected backstage frustration that Friday night from WWE management with TKO. According to Bodyslam, the impromptu nature of the promo reflects genuine frustration that runs deeper than just McAfee's situation. Rhodes and other members of the WWE creative team are said to have legitimate gripes with TKO for inserting themselves into storylines in the weeks leading up to Mania, a pattern sources indicate has occurred multiple years in a row. I believe every fucking thing. And listen, Jason and I would call it out if it's bullshit. I believe every fucking word in this report, that it's genuine and he was unscripted.
Yeah. No, and as far as the frustration from people in the back, because how could they not be frustrated?
No. It's as simple as that, like we documented. This didn't need anything. If it needed anybody... First of all, I said we didn't even need a mystery caller. They added the mystery caller as an element, and we all talked about Kevin Owens. He's injured. He's got a neck issue. He doesn't need to wrestle. Him as a mouthpiece for Kevin Owens and the history that he has with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes would have been perfect.
Yeah, but forget Kevin Owens. That's not even the point. It's not even the point. It's not sour grapes because it wasn't the person that we wanted it to be. It has nothing to do with Kevin Owens. You hit the nail on the head. This whole phone call aspect to the angle was completely unnecessary. We know why they did it now, but it was completely unneeded. And we joke about all the mystery angles that we get in this company and that we get in wrestling in general. And this was just another one that was inserted in, and it was just completely unneeded. So that's really where it all stems from, is this stupid angle that we didn't need in the first place. And when you do that, by the way, when you have him on the phone with a mystery caller and you build this up over a period of weeks, people get their expectations up. You give them 2-3 weeks to start talking online. Yeah. Oh boy, who's it going to be? Is it going to be this guy? Is it going to be that guy? And now they start going through all these possible scenarios. Oh, The Rock is going to come back, you know? The final boss is coming back. And you let it marinate, and then, you know, like a fucking lead balloon, here's Pat McAfee, and he's the big reveal. And so you just have people that are like, what the fuck? And they're all let down. You're setting expectations unrealistically high when you don't need to be doing it. So this was a fail right from the moment they decided to change the angle in the first place. And it's just, I can see where if you were involved in it, whether it's Paul Levesque or Cody Rhodes, like, it would be infuriating to me. If we're going along here, we're this close to WrestleMania, and the edict comes down that, hey, we're going to go in this direction and we got to work this guy into it. Of course people are going to be upset, and of course people are going to be frustrated. And very, very interesting, they send Cody Rhodes out there, which apparently was unplanned. I guess during the show, they were like, hey, they probably are looking on their fucking phones like, boy, we're getting roasted online for this. So they send Cody out there to do damage control, basically. Yep. And then last night on Raw, Triple H sends CM Punk out there.
Yep.
And in his promo, he goes off and he's also roasting, you know, Ari in so many words and TKO. So it makes you wonder if this is kind of their way of like, hey guys, go out there and stick it to them a little bit. Take that frustration out on television. And I'm sure he's probably sitting back there with a smile on his face because he's probably as frustrated as anybody. But I don't think him sending those guys out there to kind of shoot on the situation is any kind of accident. I think he probably enjoys it.
No, those are the only two guys in the company that would be able to do that anyway because they're untouchable. What are they going to fire CM Punk and Cody Rhodes?
Well, yeah, and this is his way of basically kind of lashing back without actually going to his boss and lashing back.
Yeah. Triple H has no power in the situation. Zero power. Triple H has no say in this matter. He can't say anything.
There are people, he has bosses, and there are people who are way above his pay grade that he answers to. That's just the nature of the way that the hierarchy is there at TKO. This is a very different company than it was 3 or 4 years ago. You know, he's not the end-all, be-all. Vince isn't the end-all, be-all. You have other people to answer to. And if anybody was going to be on the hot seat at some point, if, let's say, they can't turn things around, numbers go down, right? Because business is still very good for this company, but is it going to be that way forever? Probably not. And so when you see that business really start to decline, or if the numbers don't improve in terms of the attendance, even if they do lower ticket prices, who's going to be on the hot seat? Nick Khan or Triple H? Who's going to be the first person on the hot seat?
Yep. We'll get into that. Paul Levesque. Listen, we'll get into that. I got a lot to say about that too. I don't think he's looking too good right now. I do have a question for you though, in regards to this situation. I said, and I agree with the sentiment here. The message, if it was delivered by somebody else and not Pat McAfee, would you be a little bit more accepting of the message in Pat McAfee's promo if it was delivered by anybody but Pat McAfee?
Not if it was delivered in the way that he delivered it. I can't sit here and tell you that it's a great idea to go out there and shit all over your product and shit all over your champion, your top babyface. I just find that to be incredibly counterproductive. How are you going to go out there and say that the product sucks, the show sucks, the talent sucks, this guy's a corporate stooge and we're not sold out? How do you justify that? Even if Kevin Owens went out there and said that, how do you justify that?
You can't. That affects everybody, not just Cody Rhodes.
So I would have been able to tolerate it if it would have been adjusted a little bit. And if it would have made more sense, let's say having, again, whether it's Owens or somebody else, like the messenger was definitely a part of it. But I just think the overall message is just fucking ridiculous. That this is the big angle and they're just shitting over everything. And they think that this is going to end up being a good thing for business. Let's just shit all over the product. If I honestly believe the product was going to undergo wholesale changes out of this, maybe I'd feel differently about it. Like, okay, they're going to turn it into an angle, but they really have these changes planned of some kind. They're going to overhaul creative. They're going to lower ticket prices. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's going to be a very different WWE coming out of WrestleMania. Okay, then maybe I can understand it. But you and I both know that ain't going to happen.
No.
It's going to be the same product and the same company. And in the big picture, nothing is changing here. It's just a story that they've come up with for WrestleMania, and not a very good one.
So I'm going to save the Pat McAfee turning down the idea to even do this in the first place for the very end, because that's going to kind of tie up everything when we finish talking about this. I'm going to go to Monday Night Raw, because not only did Cody say something on Friday, Triple H sent CM Punk out there, and if you guys aren't aware, Rollins was officially mentioned as starting the show to address Gunther. They pushed that back to the middle of the show, and they had this fucking guy come out and open the show, Punk, and say what he said. Now, I'm not going to read the entire thing, because he did sell some of his match with Roman Reigns, and he went on to talk about the weird old man and dog food, and we all know what that means in the grand scheme of Punk and Roman Reigns. So I don't know when Reigns is coming back. I don't know if he's going to be on this week's show.
He'll be on Raw next week.
So he's probably going to have something to say. It's gotten a little bit more personal for sure. So he goes on to talk about the chances Roman got and how many times he's main evented WrestleMania. And he mentioned 7 or 8 different times he's main evented WrestleMania, and it went nowhere. But me or anyone else were afforded as many opportunities as you have and sucked the first 8 of them so spectacularly bad, we would have been fired and blackballed. You can't blackball me. They can't blackball me at all. And listen up. I gleefully stand on the bridge and can blow it up because, bitch, I know how to swim. And you
That was a great line.
Yes.
That was a
yes,
great
it was.
line.
And you would think that I'm done, but I'm not. Because everybody is getting it tonight. Pat McAfee, he called him Pat McAfee at one point, which I don't know if people picked up on, but he did call him Pat McAfee. You buggy-whipped, no-brain hillbilly. You think you can come here to the business, my business of pro wrestling, and run your mouth. Well, you just wrote yourself a check that your narrow ass can't cash. You want me to talk about ticket sales? Do me a favor. Call up that agent that was fooling you with stuff to shoehorn you into this business and this show and tell him to lower the ticket prices. I'll be damned if I'm going to have you, someone that kicked a football for a living, to come into my business and talk to me about selling tickets and putting asses in seats. You got a receipt coming to you. Houston, lower the ticket prices because I want these families to come and watch me stand on Roman Reigns' throat at WrestleMania because my name is CM Punk and I approve this message. It's basically what everybody was talking about was that last.
Second time, by the way, back-to-back shows, going back to SmackDown last week where somebody told McAfee that he has a receipt coming.
Yeah.
Which sounds like there may be a tag team match coming.
Well, I mean, I joked, and God forbid this happens. I don't want to put this out there, but McAfee and Orton versus Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll at Backlash.
Well, no, I'm thinking Orton, if anything, it would be Orton and McAfee against Cody and Punk.
Well, I could see that, too. I mean, that would be a little bit better, yes.
A lot more appealing than the fucking Jelly Roll.
Well, he did get that. He did get that RKO, man. Don't forget that.
He did, but he was also on the show like 2-3 weeks in a row, 4 segments on this show, 4 segments on that. I think we got our fill of jelly for the time being.
So Punk came out here, and the immediate thing, Jason, on social media was last night, and this really it just irked me to see this. Oh, well, all the podcasters, everybody got worked. You're all being worked. Ha ha, look at all the marks. They're all worked. Bro, we're not getting worked, okay? What I surmise here is, and I said this last night on my end, Triple H sent Cody on Friday. Triple H sent Punk on Monday. He sent his 2 trusted soldiers that are basically immune. These guys could commit murder in the middle of the ring. They're not getting fired. To go out there and speak frustrations about how everybody genuinely feels about the way the company's being run. Everybody has a problem with ticket prices. Everybody has a problem with the way TKO is doing this, the advertisements, the commercials, the PLEs, you name it. Fan frustration is real, and Triple H sees it. And like you said, and everybody knows, Triple H is going to be the one to get blamed for all of this. So he's sending his guys out there. I don't think Punk was scripted. He might have been given bullet points, at least to the Roman stuff, but I honestly think that Triple H sent him out there to just kind of fucking unleash the way he can. Cody, it's unscripted. I don't think we're being worked. I think we are right now WWE is damage controlling the situation because of what you said. They saw the fucking immense backlash they got on Friday to Pat McAfee's inclusion in when we first saw him. This is nothing more than damage control. They are now damage controlling the situation to maybe make it a story. Is it too late? I think so. I don't think people are going to be so willingly accepting of this because Punk now is speaking these promos and cut a pipe bomb and Cody's all angry going into WrestleMania. This is WWE damage controlling the situation. But the thing that gets me is people don't understand why Cody would be upset. You put it perfectly why he's upset, documenting what he's been through the last 3 years. I said last night, you don't think CM Punk is fucking upset that Pat McAfee went out on Friday Night SmackDown and said ticket sales are low, interest is low, our champion sucks, this sucks, that sucks. Bro, CM Punk is main eventing night 2 of WrestleMania as the World's Heavyweight Champion. He's the biggest star in the company. Don't you think that's a reflection? Pat McAfee's words are a reflection on CM Punk and what he's done as champion as well. Like, he's got that same feeling as well. Like, who the fuck is this guy telling me WrestleMania ticket sales are this and that? When I'm main eventing the fucking show, he's going to be the last match people see at the very last moment of WrestleMania. He's got more anger than anybody, Punk does.
Well, yes, and what you have to understand also, they're trying to construct a story around this now in real time. Right? This was not something that was like mapped out and booked out for 4 months.
No.
So here we are again, and kind of like the John Cena heel turn last year, which we now know, and it felt like it at the time, was not any sort of long-term plan. It was like Triple H went to him and said, hey, how do you feel about turning heel? Okay, sure. You're a month and a half out from WrestleMania. Like, what are you doing? So they were constructing the story, kind of winging it as they were going, and that's kind of what this feels like also.
Month and a half out last year, fucking 2 weeks out this year. What the fuck?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Now, I look at this and I go, is there a way for this to end in a good place? And there is. There is a way for this to end in a good place. But all the stars have to align and all the pieces have to fall in. And that would include The Rock.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at a situation here where, okay, we had Cody go off on this and we had Punk go off on this. And Cody's in the main event of night 1. Punk's in the main event of night 2. And we were talking about, like, are they going to put the belt back on Roman? What's the finish going to be? Are the Usos going to be involved, with Punk and Roman and all that? There's a way to do this where... And I mean, I'm not saying I'm advocating for this, but, if McAfee, and maybe Orton as well, but if McAfee was to come out and be involved in night 2 as well. And at the end of night 2 of WrestleMania, you have The Rock show up and like Roman wins the belt and you've got this like new corporate, whatever entity or whatever you want to call it, where it's like, you've got The Rock and you've got Roman Reigns as champion. You've got Randy Orton as champion. You've got Pat McAfee with them. And it's like this newfound alliance, right? And you construct something around that. Could you do something like that? Sure, you could do something like that and then try to make it make sense and construct a story around it. And maybe you could get some interesting, exciting television out of it. I don't get the sense that this has all been mapped out where we've got The Rock on board and we're going to do this and we're going to go here and we're going to do that. Right, I think people are like, oh, well, I could see the vision here. I could see the big picture here. I don't know that there is some grand vision like that they have in mind, but I'm not saying that there isn't a way where at the back end of all of this, you can't turn it into something that could carry you through the summer and create an interesting summer of WWE television. Do I see The Rock coming back and being involved on a regular basis? No, especially if this was Ari going to Nick Khan and Paul Levesque and saying, hey, we want to go in a different direction with this story, work this guy into it. And by the way, The Rock is going to be available to be on television every single week to further the angle.
This is the same guy that should have showed up last year and refused not to show up.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I'm not sitting here banking on the fact that any of this is actually going to happen. Maybe in 3 months we're sitting here and they got a whole bunch of different people on board and they've constructed something that actually seems more interesting than television would otherwise be. But you know what? With this crew here, I ain't getting my hopes up for that. No. I'm just looking at what's being reported, what I'm seeing with my own eyes on television. And all I know is that you had it was a simple story, but I thought it was a good story going into WrestleMania around this particular main event. And now this is 2 shows in a row, SmackDown on Friday and then with Punk on Raw Monday night, where this is becoming the dominant story now across multiple brands in this company. So if they don't have some sort of really big, worthwhile payoff for this in the end, I just look at this like this is infecting all of the shows now. This is going to end up being a giant waste of time. If we get to Mania and then let's say McAfee goes away and maybe Randy wins the belt, wrestling is saved. And then they just sort of go on and nothing really changes. Then what was the point of all this? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have faith. I don't have faith in there being some sort of grand plan here that you and I are not seeing.
No.
So it's frustrating.
If that happens, and that's what the sentiment is from the community as well, they want everything you mentioned to happen. The thing is, Rock didn't show up last year. We needed him very much. He didn't show up. McAfee's another one. Come September, he's gone. So he's got a very small window to be on WWE television, and I don't even know what he's doing this summer. He could be doing anything, movies or something ESPN college football related. He went away in June last year. He took an even extended period of time away from WWE. We don't know when he's going to be available and how long we are going to have Pat McAfee. Not like anybody wants him anyway. But the situation regarding this is that's where people think it's going. A civil war between WWE management on air and TKO brass. And the story I saved here is because this is where it all ties into. Pat McAfee originally turned down the WWE return idea. Now, why did he turn it down? Pat McAfee was the first choice, and it was from Ari Emanuel. That's where it came from, Meltzer says. They wanted celebrity involvement. Originally, McAfee was the choice, and he turned it down, and they were scrambling to get somebody else in the spot. And then, obviously, they were able to make a deal with him, so he did it, and he was there. Now, they could have paid him more money than they originally offered him, sure. But is there another reason why he ultimately said yes, Jason? And is the reason he said yes is because they got Rock locked in, and that's the reason why he said yes. Do you think The Rock is going to be there? Yes or no?
Look, could he be there? Sure. We know he's tight with Pat. So I can't rule it out completely, but you got to understand something, especially after what happened last year. I've given up on guessing when The Rock is going to show his face again. And it's hard for me to really bring myself to really care, in all honesty. As great as the Final Boss character was, like I enjoyed it. It was one of those things where it wasn't supposed to happen, but what we ended up getting was a lot better than probably what they originally
it was
would have
memorable
done.
Television.
It really was. And it was great. And last year was a tremendous letdown. After that initial angle at Elimination Chamber, it was a tremendous disappointment. And I feel like we're always sitting here every single year. We have this same conversation. Yep. Is Rock going to come back? Mm-hmm. Is Rock going to wrestle Roman? Is this the year? And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of every single fucking year. WrestleMania is built around these questions of whether or not The Rock is going to come back and show up and be a part of the show in some way. And most of the time he's not. But every single year, I feel like we end up in this same spot. Oh, is he going to show up at WrestleMania? Is he going to be part of this angle? Is he going to be back on TV? Like, at what point do you say, hey, we got a story going on here. We have people who are here every single week that are trying to put together, these television shows, and we have this main event here. Why does it have to focus around this guy? Or the idea that this guy might show up and somehow make things better when actually it made things worse last year? Are we really going to fall for this again 2 years in a row?
No, I'm not. If he shows up, great. If not, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But it's ruined television.
If this report is accurate and Pat initially turned it down, why did he suddenly say yes? It doesn't mean Rock got locked in. It could just be as simple as they convinced him to say yes because they explained, hey, we really need you. This is what our vision is for this. And maybe we don't need you for the long term. We just need you until Vegas. And he's like, okay. Or maybe they did. They flashed a bunch of money in his face. Why would he have said no initially? I would love to know the reason for that. Is it because he's a genuine fan and he realized this is a bad idea?
Probably.
Maybe, because I know he is a fan of the product. Maybe he, was like, yeah, you know what? I don't know about this. These guys got this on lock. I don't think it really needs me. So I would love to know where his head was at on that. But all of this is just speculation. We just don't know. But what I know is this. There's another way to look at this. This is all anybody has been talking about since Friday. So I kind of feel like they're already getting what they wanted to get out of it as far as getting people talking about WrestleMania. And that's fine. And I can understand you want to generate a buzz. But it could also backfire on you if you don't stick the landing and have a really good idea, right, to pay this thing off, it can really blow up in your face. But I don't see what they've done so far, how this is supposed to generate more interest in people buying tickets at those prices to attend WrestleMania any more than they were going to a week ago.
Pat McAfee's not going to make any difference at all.
No.
The way that they think.
He's not. I understand he has a huge platform and it's great exposure for them on his show. And he's going to talk about it every day between now and April 18th or 19th, whatever it is. I understand that. But you know what? If Ari Emanuel went to Pat McAfee and said, hey, can you do me a solid? Can you do us a favor here? We would love to use your platform to really promote this show. We need to sell more tickets, and maybe we could have some guys on your show. Maybe you could talk it up a little bit. You could promote WrestleMania any way you want to without the guy being inserted into the main event of the fucking show. There was a reason why they wanted him in the angle itself. And that's where now things get a little muddy, where it's he's his agent, and so he has ulterior motives involved here. And that's great for him. But as a fan watching the shows, I just want good television that will get me excited as we go into this show. That's real. At the end of the day, that's really all I ask for. And certainly on Fridays, we're not getting that right now. So if you're of the mindset of, well, if the show already sucks, then hey, let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Okay, yeah, you can do that. But that's a hell of a strategy there. The show can definitely be improved. But I'm sorry, this ain't it. This is just insanity to me that we're this close to WrestleMania and they've basically blown this thing up and they're just taking it a totally different direction now.
This will go down as one of the worst angles that they've run all year when the end of 2026 comes.
That's your prediction?
Yeah, but it may be number one. I don't know. There's fucking 8 months still to go, so I don't know what they got planned.
A lot of bad stuff we can get this year with the months we have left.
The thing is, a lot of fans on social media think that this is going to result in some on-air storyline that creates a civil war between WWE and TKO. There's no civil war happening on air. There's not enough time to get Rock and Pat McAfee on air, enough consistent appearances to make this really memorable and mean something, because they're always going to go and do something else besides WWE. The civil war is happening backstage, which Jason and I know 100% is happening. We've heard about it. We've heard rumors and murmurs of TKO and Triple H and Nick Khan and Vince McMahon.
There have been reports about this.
And Rock and Triple H not getting along and the rumors there. My stance on this is that there's a civil war happening backstage. And what you're seeing now is the frustration bleed onto television because Triple H's voice means nothing backstage. And the only way his voice means something is if he has his two guys in Punk and Cody go out there and speak for him and the rest of everybody else. My prediction is Triple H is gone in 18 to 24 months. And I said this, Jason, my Friday rant that went fucking crazy on social media. And maybe I went a little bit over the top, but I meant every fucking word. Triple H is going to be gone in 18 to 24 months. And I don't want to dip into the conspiracy theory realm, but I did. Triple H inducted Stephanie McMahon this year. He inducted himself into the Hall of Fame last year. I think that man knows exactly what the fuck is coming over the next 2 to 3 years, which is why he's making plans now and paving the way for him to be set by the time he leaves. I genuinely think that they're going to blame him for everything. Like you said, it's all going to come crashing down on him. He's the one that's going to be blamed for the 18 to 90% ticket decrease year over year for WrestleMania. Does the Las Vegas second in a row aspects play into this? It's not his fault, but he's going to be blamed for it. He's the controlling one on everything you see on TV. I genuinely think they're going to get rid of him. Rock is going to come on in, which he's biding his time. The Civil War is really going to kind of rear its ugly head. Brian Gewirtz is going to come on in, run creative, and I do think that we're going to see $7 Productions run WWE creative. That is my prediction. And I said, additionally, if Vince McMahon was in this spot and we didn't have any, sex trafficking lawsuit with Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon was clear of everything and he was still running the show, I don't think for a fucking second that Ari Emanuel would have stepped in and told Vince McMahon what to do. You know why he did it with Triple H? Because he's not Vince McMahon. He's not a fucking McMahon. He's just another fucking rinky-dink employee that they want to make the next Dana White, but they don't really give a shit about. They would have never did this to Vince McMahon. Ari Emanuel would have never come in and said, Vince, I want Pat McAfee there. I need you to do this, and that's it. No,
Vince would have come up with the idea himself. He wouldn't have needed Ari to come up with it.
Probably, but I don't think
they're two peas in a pod. I mean, they were like this. I mean, we've talked about that when the initial acquisition of the company happened. And if it were up to Ari, Vince would have been there from day one. He'd still be there today.
I don't think Ari's telling Vince McMahon what to do.
But it's very interesting, and we don't have time to get into it here. But I did read through some of the text message exchanges that came out of the shareholder lawsuit, and this is going back to 2023. So there were text messages between Paul Levesque and Nick Khan. Although Nick Khan deleted most of what he wrote, which is not suspicious at all. But the Triple H messages were there. And there was one message in particular that was very telling. This is going back to 2023. And Triple H texted him, and he was just effusive praise for Nick Khan and thanking him. And he goes, "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now."
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that because, and again, we remember what happened when Triple H got sick and he went away. And what did Vince McMahon and the other powers in WWE do? They tore down everything in NXT that he built. So he knows, and we only speculated on it at the time, but you can kind of get a little brief glimpse into his his mindset there, that he knows he wouldn't be here right now working in the company. The way things were going, he probably would have been gone a long time ago if Nick Khan didn't come in when he did and ascend to the position that he was in. And so he considers Nick Khan to be a good friend and a close confidant. But he knows, like, if it wasn't for him, he would have been gone a long time ago. So he's not bulletproof. He's not guaranteed to be there forever. Vince, before, it was his company. So he was probably going to die in the chair. Triple H doesn't have that same safety net. That's why I said, like, if someone ends up in the hot seat, it'll be Levesque before it's Nick Khan. Mm-hmm. It'll be the chief content officer. And then if he goes, the question at that point is, who do they replace him with? Now, Brian Gewirtz used to be the head writer for many, many years. And he's very good friends and very close with The Rock. The Rock is on the board. Would not at all be surprised if The Rock is just sort of laying back and watching things play out. Yeah, he's got other things going on. Rock will never be full-time on creative in W. He's not going to be sitting in the chair with the headset on.
No.
But, he's got his people, and could I see that? Absolutely. I mean, if not them, then who? Because then you're probably looking at someone from the outside, and that could end up being even worse. So when we talk about the possibility that Triple H may not be there, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it just becomes a question of, if not him, then who? Bruce? No, you're probably looking at someone like a Brian Gewirtz who has done this before. He's been in that, he hasn't been in the Vince chair, but he's been in that position before, and he's got that connection to The Rock. And absolutely 100%, there's always been this professional tension and jealousy between Rock and Triple H, if you just sort of read between the lines. I don't feel like you need to be best friends with them or be, backstage watching them at all times to know this. I think it's clear going back to when they were talents and they were fighting for the same spot. There's just a natural jealousy there. And now they're all buddy-buddy and everything, but just look at the positions they're in. You don't think that there's no professional tension there between those two?
Shawn Michaels just recently asked what match he wish would have happened during his time as a pro wrestler, and he mentioned The Rock. And then he asked, well, why didn't it happen? Well, and then he jokes, well, The Rock didn't like me too much.
Well, he jokes about it, and then he says that all the rumors of like tension with him and Triple H and Rock were overblown. I don't believe that.
No.
I think that those rumors and talk of that is out there because that's a real thing. And there are people who have documented it. Bret Hart, and I know Bret Hart is not maybe the most objective here. Bret Hart does not like Triple H. And Bret Hart had his issues with Shawn Michaels previously. But there's a lot of reasons why that match never happened. One of the reasons is because of the way that Rock felt he was treated, when he was still young in the company. And Triple H and Shawn Michaels were not, they were not big fans of his. And Rock is on record as, he might have been doing an interview with, I don't know who the person was, but he was doing an interview once for a movie. Somebody was interviewing him. And I think the guy maybe was wearing a Bret Hart shirt or something. And Rock went on this thing like just praising Bret Hart and all that he did for me when I was in the company and he looked out for me and everything. He was in the Bret camp. He wasn't in the Shawn Michaels camp. So it goes back to that. And also Shawn was kind of a dick to his grandmother when she was promoting a show that Shawn was on when he was younger. I see the thing popped up.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of reasons why that match never happened. But yeah, and it's funny because Rock is on the board, Triple H is running creative, and Shawn Michaels is running developmental, right? And dancing on TV with Sexy Red. So they're all involved here. And so what are things going to look like, 3 years from now? If Triple H goes, maybe Shawn Michaels. Would Shawn go too? Shawn's his boy. Would they want him there?
I don't know. It's a very sticky
politically,
situation.
it's a very interesting situation, right? Because those two were like this. And so maybe they would get rid of him too. And believe me, CM Punk has openly said he would love to have the Shawn Michaels spot and be running NXT at some point.
I mean, I don't know I don't even know if he'd be there, honestly.
I don't know about that. I mean, if he can make the money, I think he would still be there. So anyway, it's fun to kind of talk about it, but do I believe that there's a lot of political, maneuvering going on and tension between the parties involved? Absolutely. I guarantee you that would be far more entertaining than the actual television that we get.
Yes.
The stuff going on behind the scenes or how it might play out, that's the real story to follow.
Now, what gave you the impression that Bret Hart doesn't like Triple H? Was it the eye roll at the Hall of Fame thing at WrestleMania last year?
Well, that might have been one of it, or the fact that he has said Triple H never had a single good match in his entire career. I believe that was another quote.
Which is a lie. Come on. I mean,
I believe calling him 4 out of 10. That's where that meme comes from. I think Bret's been pretty clear that he's no fan of Triple H.
One additional.
The eye roll last year, though, was just fantastic.
That was fucking hilarious.
That was amazing.
I died laughing at that. One additional note here in regards to Pat McAfee. Netflix is expected to be a primary frontrunner to secure the Pat McAfee show as his next deal window begins to take over the next 12 to 24 months as his ESPN deal progresses. So,
well, that's something that was on Twitter. I don't know that that's been verified anywhere else.
This is from Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, but Yahoo Sports, I think, may have picked it up from there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Ari Emanuel obviously is involved in positioning his next deal here as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But he might find a new home on Netflix with his podcast. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And that's the whole ordeal there with Pat McAfee and the WrestleMania fiasco that's happening 2 weeks out before Las Vegas. We will definitely keep you guys updated. We have 3,700 people in here on a Tuesday night. I knew it'd be a big show. Anytime there's major news like this, man, Jason and I on a Tuesday night, we know we're going to rock and roll.
Is it great to be alive on a Tuesday night?
It is very great to
YouTube?
be alive on a Tuesday night. 3704 is what I'm looking at. Thank you guys very much. We don't have much else to talk about here on Monday night. Just a couple of things here. Number one, Lesnar and Obafemi, Jason. The pull-apart brawl, which we've seen a lot this WrestleMania season. I wish we didn't get any pull-apart brawls before this. It would have made this feel a lot more fresh. But if there was a pull-apart brawl, it was between these two guys that I felt like was very much needed. They threw office chairs at each other. Lesnar dove on top of Obafemi. They even tackled each other Oba tackled Brock through the contract table in the middle of the ring. I thought this was very good. They gave you just a little bit more. They're not going to give you anything else than what they gave you, and we're all bought in on this match. What did you think of the
kind of abrupt, though, right? A very abrupt.
Yeah.
Ending to the show. I mean, they promised us a contract signing, and technically the contract never got signed. So I guess the match is not official yet.
It is not, but the graphic is there, so we assume it is. But they did their own thing there. Rollins and Gunther. We got some explanation and some storyline progression here with why this match is taking place. Now, there is no real partnership between Gunther and Paul Heyman. Heyman was confronted by Gunther in the back after this segment with Gunther and Rollins. Gunther tried to choke him out again with a sleeper hold, and he eventually met Paul Heyman in the back, and he shook hands with Paul Heyman. And basically, Paul Heyman said, "Thank you." And Gunther looked at him, pulled him in, shook his hand. "You're going to owe me a lot more than just a simple thank you," which is what we discussed last week, Jason. I'm assuming you talked about this on your end as well. The only way that this would have made sense is for Gunther to go out there, do this favor for Paul Heyman, and then maybe throw it back at him and say, "I'll take care of Rollins for you, but I want a favor coming back to me." And what that favor could potentially be is a match with Brock Lesnar. Now, Lesnar's been on record saying that he doesn't have much time left and that he's only back to feed his kids and put food on the table. And I think that a retirement match at SummerSlam in Minneapolis is a realistic possibility here after what we saw Monday night.
Yeah, I think that's the SummerSlam match. I think Gunther and Brock is the SummerSlam match. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of them just, regurgitating angle. I mean, dude, there's so many repeat angles going back to last year. We had the favor last year. This is probably going to be the favor, 2.0. And we talked about the Cody stuff.
I wonder why Rock wants to take over.
We talked about the Cody stuff, getting kicked in the dick. And there's a lot of repeat and the mystery angles. My God, the mystery men. Yeah, you know what? I think we should just blow up the entire creative team and just start all over again.
Everybody's got to go.
I mean, I think we should come up with a new name for the team. I don't think creative is really an accurate description for this team anymore.
Yeah, we'll think.
What is creative about it?
Michael Hayes' oversized suits
And his hats.
And his hats, yeah. Yeah. Or maybe Bruce's movie fetish. I don't know what he's watching on a week-to-week basis, but there's theft and mystery angles, and I don't know what he's watching on Netflix, man. I got to see his library,
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in knowing what kind of movies Bruce watches in his downtime. You can keep that to himself.
Now, the thing with this Gunther and Rollins situation is we got confirmation that Rey Mysterio is now cleared. We got confirmation as well from Mike Johnson of PW Insider Elite saying that Braun Breaker is cleared. So you're probably asking, well, if Mysterio and Gunther was the planned WrestleMania match and Breaker and Rollins was the planned WrestleMania match, why aren't we getting those two individual WrestleMania matches? Well, I said on my end last night, Jason, that if you're going to do Mysterio and Gunther, you're basically pigeonholing yourself into a retirement match with Rey Mysterio. And I honestly think WWE played the sheets. They played the dirt sheets and came up with, Rey Mysterio is not going to be ready for WrestleMania. Only to trot him out last night, put him in the ladder match, which makes a lot more sense because he's going after the IC title, and Dominic wants the IC title, so there's a tie there with his son. But I'm assuming Rey Mysterio went to management and said, I know you guys got me planned for Gunther at WrestleMania, but I don't want to put my career on the line. I'm not ready to retire yet. I want to give that to my son. So maybe they pivoted just on what Rey Mysterio said. They went with Rollins and Gunther, made Mysterio go out on Raw, put him in the ladder match, and Breaker, don't give him a WrestleMania match, but have him factor into the Gunther and Seth Rollins WrestleMania match. What do you make of this entire situation and why we didn't get these two matches?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're reading too deep into it. I don't think that's really what happened here at all. I think that they did have plans probably to do Gunther and Rey Mysterio. It doesn't necessarily mean that his career was going to be on the line. But look, we're getting Gunther and Seth. And there's no talk of Seth's career being on the line. We've had Gunther have matches where it's not a career match per se. And it seemed like we were on that track because he wrestled Dragon Lee. He ripped the mask off, and I think that they were heading in that direction. Ray had a couple of fractured ribs. It's entirely possible he just did not get cleared until this past week, and they just didn't want to hold out Gunther any longer. Everybody was like, where the hell is Gunther? So on that Madison Square Garden show, I guess it was, right? That's when he made his return.
Yeah.
They decided, okay, we're going to pull the trigger on this story because they made the decision, even though he's cleared apparently, we don't want to rush Braun Breaker back just yet. So here's what we're going to do. And we're going to go with Gunther and Seth instead, and we'll just shift Ray over to the ladder match, and we'll add an extra spot. I don't think they necessarily work the sheets or anything like that. I think that's just sort of how things ended up playing out. My thing is, poor Rey Mysterio. I mean, this guy, he's 50 years old. He's coming off a couple of broken ribs, and he comes back, and the first match they're putting him in is a multi-man ladder match at WrestleMania. Like, good luck with that.
Listen, I would have preferred another Ray in that match, but
Sure.
we have not been. I don't know. Some guy
Ray
on
who?
SmackDown.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? You know what he could
apparently
do?
has a brother in the WWE. I wasn't sure.
Well, I mean, he'll have a few friends that he can hang out with and play cards backstage, like Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes and Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews, and they could all, Johnny Gargano could lay on the crate and watch them next to them, and they could just have a big bridge game going on.
So, hey, Mysterio's in the ladder match. People were wondering why didn't they add Carmelo Hayes to the ladder match? Because it's Raw, and the Raw brand has the IC title. So that's what they're doing there. Will they add more? I don't know. Will they add the Americanos? I don't know.
No, six is going to be it.
Yeah. The Americanos might get that spot on the Raw after Mania, maybe mask versus mask. I don't see them doing that match at WrestleMania. But what they are doing at Mania is Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio, and Balor alluded to the Demon coming back, only for WWE to then put the graphic on Twitter today and have Balor in Demon garb against Dominic Mysterio because they wanted to sell extra tickets to the show.
They just told you, fuck it. The demon is coming.
I hated seeing that, man. I don't know why didn't they save it. It would have been like we knew just based off what he said, but man, just fucking surprise me.
Because they are desperate to sell tickets.
Yes, because the demon is going to sell extra tickets to WrestleMania. It is.
No, it won't. It won't. But you know, in their mind, if they could sell 5 extra tickets, then that's what they're going to do. And the demon, by the way, I believe the last 2 matches that we saw the demon in, I believe he lost both of them. Right? He lost to Edge in the Hell in a Cell match.
He did.
And then I believe the one before that might have been the match with Roman where he fell off the top rope. I still can't believe that happened, but it really did. It really happened.
Yeah, that's yes.
So,
and everybody says now is worse than then, but I don't know where you guys were.
He's due for a win. I mean, for his sake, if he's going to bring back the demon, I sure hope he wins.
Any thoughts on that Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan moment backstage, man? I know you heard that fucking thud. I didn't know what exactly hit. I thought Stephanie came in so hard with that forearm to the back of Liv Morgan, and then she threw her through the fucking TV. But then we come to find out today that Liv Morgan has legitimately a baseball-sized fucking growth on her face from smashing Roxanne's head because Stephanie came in like fucking Darby Allin flying through the ropes in this backstage segment. Holy shit.
I mean, it looked like she got shot out of a cannon. And then it's not just Liv. Roxanne has a big lump on her head, too. They have matching lumps on their heads. And so I know Alvarez said they were immediately put into concussion protocol. It doesn't mean they have concussions, but I mean, you got to check on that because, dude, when their heads bonked together, it made such a loud, like, sickening thud. Like, I knew instantly. I wasn't even worried about Liv so much as I was Roxanne. Roxanne looked like she was just fucking wiped out. And so I was like, man, that's rough. And so Liv, of course, is in one of the championship matches. She's got 12 days left to, I mean, even if she's not concussed, I mean, can she wrestle with that on her head?
I don't know.
What do
they wait for it to kind of dissipate? What do they drain it? What do they do?
There's like pus going to come flying out of it or something. Like, what do you do with that?
Oh my God.
I don't know. That's crazy. But I was thinking about that. Like, if for some reason she can't get cleared and you don't have Liv Morgan for WrestleMania, first of all, what a disaster that would be. But let's say she's not available. I mean, do you just not have Stephanie defend? Because to me, the most logical thing to do would just be you got Raquel right there. And you just slot Raquel into the match.
Yeah, it's not as exciting, but
yeah, it's not ideal. But I mean, what else do you do?
Well, hopefully, Liv Morgan's all right. I don't know what the narrative that they're going for here is, but they are legitimately beating the shit out of each other for the last 3 weeks. So, I mean, rough. And it's like I see everybody
online like, oh, Stephanie, she's an unsafe worker. I saw some people saying that. And I'm like, based on what exactly? Are you aware of there being other incidents where she's injured people that I'm not aware of?
I don't know.
Have you heard anything about this? This is news to me.
I have not.
It's wild, though. Like, I mean, you get injured in a backstage segment. And I was thinking, like, when was the last time we saw that? And then I said, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Who got hurt by Liv Morgan.
Yeah, really.
In a backstage segment. So, yeah, it could be dangerous back there.
WWE announced the WrestleMania cards for each night. Night 1 looking like this. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and I Show Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory against LA Knight and the Usos, which was made official last night on Raw. Big 6-man tag team match. They will be on ESPN2 for the first hour. So I don't know which match goes first. I'm assuming they'll do the celebrity match first, just to kind of get everybody like on board there.
I mean, I would open with the unsanctioned match.
Yeah, sure. Either one works for me. However, WWE wants to play it. I would do that personally too. So those are the first 2 matches. They will be airing on ESPN2 for the first hour. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. Is the whole show on ESPN app? Right? The whole show's on ESPN.
Yeah, no, it's simulcasting. The first hour each night is simulcasting on ESPN2 or ESPN, but the full shows are still airing on the ESPN Unlimited app.
Okay, good. Women's Championship, Stephanie Vaquer, Liv Morgan as of now. We don't know what the status of Liv Morgan will be in the next 12 days or so. So that's on night 1. Rollins, Gunther, AJ Lee, Becky Lynch. Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way, the Irresistible Forces, the Bella Twins, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and Bayley Lyra. So that's there. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee. That is,
they worked him into the graphic. Did you see they put Pat in the graphic?
They did. It looks disgusting, but that's what they did. So that right now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches for night one. So that's all night one. Kind of like I'm not really enthused with this card.
Oh, night two. To me, night two, even though it's got one match less right now, and that might change, but night two is by far the stronger of the two nights.
Yeah, night one looks very weak, at least on paper. Night two. This is exactly what Jason mentioned last week here on TNT. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar will be on ESPN proper. And then we got the IC title ladder match. Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rusev, JD McDonough, and Rey Mysterio. That will also be airing on ESPN proper in the first hour. I'm assuming they open Oba and Brock.
You have to.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for weeks. I mean, you're going to have this big sports audience. You're on ESPN. This is honestly the best promoted match on the entire card. This is the match that has, I think, most people excited for this show more than any other single match.
I agree. Now, this is listen, I'd put this in the main event, fucking over Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton right now. That's what I would do.
I don't think Ari Emanuel would agree with you on that.
No, he probably won't. Oba and Brock, IC title ladder match, already better than night one just by these two matches alone. Jade versus Rhea. We got Sami Zayn and Trick Williams as of now. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Carmelo Hayes to be added there, but again, it wouldn't even make any sense if they did. It would be more of a fucking pity party.
Like a token. Yeah, it'd be like a token gesture. Demon
Balor versus Dominic Mysterio one-on-one, and then Punk Roman Reigns will be the main event of all of WrestleMania because it's closing night too. 6 matches here. Asuka and Io may get added. Jason alluded to that if the Bella Twins are not ready to go, that they will do Kabuki Warriors there, and Io more than likely will be left off the show.
Well, I mean, she'll probably end up being in Rhea's corner as her cheerleader.
Yeah. So if they add a 7th match, I don't know what that would be. They could do Americano versus Americano. They could, what else do they do?
Well, don't forget, they have the Hall of Fame inductees, and they usually I think on night 2. Yeah. They have the video packages, and then they introduce them on stage, and that eats up some time.
Yep.
So I would imagine we'll be seeing that on night 2. And not for nothing, I mean, the Hall of Fame class this year is pretty good. I mean, they have Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, Demolition. They have Psycho Sid and Bad News Brown going into the Legacy wing. And Sid's kids confirmed today that they will not be giving a speech, which I figured would be the case with this Legacy bullshit.
Pretty shitty.
And then Dennis Rodman is the celebrity inductee. So for AJ Styles, Demolition, and Sid alone, it's a quality Hall of Fame class. And then they announce what the Immortal Moment is going to be, which will be Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant.
There is news coming out of the Punk promo. This is coming from The Observer and Brian Alvarez. Following Raw, Alvarez reported that it appears WWE is indeed looking to lower ticket prices through the summer. Yeah, this I don't believe at all. Giving the on-air moment and off-screen dimension that suggests the issue is being addressed at a corporate level. Bodyslam.net added further context to this with sources indicating that WWE and TKO are very aware of the social media conversation surrounding ticket prices heading into WrestleMania and the several top superstars that have been actively pushing for the company to lower costs. They believe that the diehard fans are being priced out and deserve the opportunity to attend these shows in person. Do you think that they're going to lower ticket prices, Jason?
I think they will lower them a little bit. I don't think they're going to lower them dramatically, and I don't think it's going to last forever. I think they might do it for a few months and be selective. It might not be for every show. I also want to clarify something here because there are going to be some people who maybe are like, oh, it's Punk's comments. He was shooting on ticket prices, and now they're lowering ticket prices. I guarantee you the plan for them to lower ticket prices, if in fact that's what they end up doing, precedes Punk's promo last night.
Yeah.
This is something that they came up with before Punk went out there with a live mic last night. It makes him look good, makes him look like the voice of the voiceless again if all of a sudden TKO follows through and they lower prices. But I don't for a second believe that it was Punk's promo that inspired them to do it. It's like you said, you'd be blind and deaf, okay, not to see and hear what's been said for months now about these just outrageous ticket prices where even the talent themselves behind the scenes have commented on it. They have talked about, like, it's ridiculous, like you're pricing people out because they're the ones that are going out there And they're in front of these crowds, and they remember a year and a half ago when those houses were full, and you can have a Monday Night Raw in Houston and have 14,000 people, and it's packed to the rafters.
Loud.
You know, no comps. And now, look, they're still doing really good business, but let's say instead of 14,000, they're doing 10, you know, and the crowds aren't terribly loud in a lot of these places. You don't think these wrestlers don't see that, and they don't feel that, and they don't hear that when they go out there? Or maybe their own family members, you know, they're complaining to them too. We heard Rikishi not that long ago talk about this very thing. And a lot of other wrestlers have too. And they've been very vocal about it. So I think they will, but I don't think it's anything where it's going to go back to the way it was, you know, or anything like that. The prices are still going to be elevated, but even if they just bring them down a little bit is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Because it really is. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Some of these shows, it's not even worth it. Look at the television. Look at the product that they're putting out there. You mean to tell me that these ticket prices are justified by the quality of the television that we are getting?
You wouldn't catch me dead on one of these shows, spending money on this product.
You might catch people sitting in the crowd dead, probably unconscious watching some of these shows.
Because they're fucking boring. That's why.
Well, I mean, look, dude, here's one of the things that where like house shows are missed. When you go to a WWE television show, and I haven't been to one in a while, but I've been to plenty of SmackDowns and plenty of Monday Night Raws. And it might be worse now because it just feels to me like the commercials are worse. But you go there and then they go to commercial. And usually during the commercial, like they would go dark, right? Maybe they don't go dark now, but like nothing really happens during the commercial. And there's so many breaks in the show. And then when they come back, you got this poor wrestler standing in the ring who came out right before the commercial break. And dude, they could be standing in the ring for like 12 minutes. And then they'll cut back to them. They've been standing there the whole time and they've been airing fucking vignettes and videos on the Tron. It has to be just an excruciatingly just like boring, tedious experience. I mean, if you're taking your kids or something, I'm sure they get a kick out of it. But like, I would much rather go to a house show where you don't have all that downtime.
Yeah.
And you just get the action, and it's probably a lot more fun than sitting at a TV taping like this. It's got to be excruciating, especially on a 3-hour SmackDown.
Or go watch the other product where they give you a lot of pro wrestling and they're not charging you a fucking lung to go sit in the audience. AEW's got the family-friendly prices. Per Tony
That's
Khan.
true, and that is absolutely something that I would be focusing on. And Kenny Omega said that recently.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jason's been to an AEW show. I've been to several AEW shows with Jesse. The product might not be my cup of tea anymore, but man, those are great fucking shows. The energy at those pay-per-views are fucking great live. So I would absolutely recommend it for sure. Forbidden Door, Revolution, Double or Nothing.
Yeah, but from a business perspective, I'm just saying it would be smart for them to really hammer that point home, you know, because there are obviously they've turned it into an angle on their television show where their own people are going out on TV and saying, boy, you know, no, we're not selling out and ticket prices are too high. If ever there was a time, you know, to take advantage of that and say, hey, come over here, you know, the water's warm over here. Yeah. Now would be that time. It would be smart.
We'll end with this one because this one caused a little bit of controversy online as well from a WWE personality and a radio personality here in New York to some of the pro wrestlers in the industry. Peter Rosenberg, he delivered a lengthy defense of his opinion on wrestlers that should stop doing suicide dives on this week's Cheap Heat podcast, which he's a host of. After being criticized by wrestlers and fans for an online tweet where he quoted and criticized Io Sky botching a dive on Raw. Now, the dive was ridiculous. She literally landed on the back of her fucking neck and could have ended so much worse than it was. Thank God it didn't. So Rosenberg explained after watching this Io Sky dive land face first on her neck outside on a suicide dive attempt at Madison Square Garden. He tweeted, "This is why I tell whoever I can at Evolve, who he's a commentator for, and even on the main roster, don't bother with these dives. They are all risk, no reward. If you successfully hit a suicide dive in 26, no one cares. But if you mess it up, you could truly harm yourself. Don't do it." So the tweet obviously saw immediate backlash. Bailey told him to shut up. Brody King from AEW wrote, "Don't tell me what to do, Peter." Chris Hero even got involved, who's a backstage producer at All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, I think Brody King he said that jokingly because I think the two of them are friends. Yeah.
Chris Hero posted a mocking version of Rosenberg's tweet, replacing dives with bumps to imply Rosenberg was telling wrestlers not to wrestle at all. Rosenberg said he texted Brody King after the backlash and confirmed King was just joking. He also DM'd Bailey, who he had not heard back from. Rosenberg said he told both that even if they were joking, the response from the internet wrestling community was not. He says the IWC is so filled with thoughtless marks who can't have a thought for themselves that when you say that to me, whether you mean it or not, you completely justify hating on my credibility. Now, he also said he received a private text from Corey Graves after posting the tweet poking fun at him for his tone. But the gist of it is, Jason, you know, Peter Rosenberg was mocked by online fans because he's Peter Rosenberg and he's a shill and he's this and that, according to some people in the IWC. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Rosenberg or what he does on WWE television, but I don't think he's necessarily wrong here. Now, we don't advocate for telling people what to do, what not to do, but I think you and I have a good understanding of what's good and what's bad, what should be done, what not should be done, and if it's done in excess. I think we see a lot of suicide dives from people of all shapes and sizes, and some of them work out, some of them don't. But like pile drivers or people getting dropped on their heads more time than we care to see, or the overabundance of super kicks. Bro, there's quality over quantity. I always believed in that. And when fucking Io Sky does a suicide dive or Darby Allin does a suicide dive, and then we see someone the size of Samoa Joe or Brody King do a suicide dive, it's like, all right, man. Like, I think there should be kind of balances in place on who does it and who does and doesn't. I don't really want to see it done by everybody, especially multiple times a night. It just loses its appeal. And I said this to Coach today on the 2 count. If Io didn't do that dive in that match, we wouldn't be talking about this. But also, if she didn't do the dive, it's not going to take away from making a good match or a bad match. So what do you feel about Rosenberg and his stance on suicide dives? I don't think he's necessarily wrong.
No, I mean, the substance of it, you know, I agree with. And I mean, I've said this on my platform before. We all have, you know, opinions on different things that we feel like are done in excess on these shows. And they kind of lose all meaning after a while. I think where people took issue with it was like Corey, I guess, said, like the tone. And I think even in response to Chris Hero, he may have tagged Chris Hero and said, you know, basically like, pay attention, school is in session or something. I'm like, all right, maybe don't say that to Chris Hero without coming off, you know, really fucking badly. So yeah, the tone was the issue. The message, though, I agree with the message. And I've said that before. Everybody dives. Like I used to joke, Lance Archer, you know, his catchphrase is everybody dies. And really it's everybody dives. And I don't know where this started. I really don't know. I can't pinpoint the exact moment that this became a thing on every fucking wrestling show, but it has become a prerequisite. And basically, and I'm not even joking when I say like every single match, somebody has to do a dive. And usually they set it up to where, okay, we're about to go into a commercial.
Yeah.
So somebody does a dive, they show a replay of it, and they go to commercial. It's very formulaic. When everybody does it, it doesn't have any meaning anymore. And so to his point, if she hits the dive, nobody cares. And if she misses it or hurts herself or hurts somebody else, well, then you got a real problem. And what did you really accomplish? Like, what did you get out of it?
Nothing.
So it just comes down to like, okay, wrestlers aren't going to want to be told like, you know, you shouldn't do this in a match, you shouldn't do that in a match, and I get it. I have to imagine there are wrestlers who would agree, but a lot of them keep doing it. So are they doing it because they really feel like it's enhancing the match, or are they doing it because they feel like, well, everybody else is doing it, and so I you know, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, so I have to do it. You don't have to do it. I really don't think that people would care that much if you went through life, you know, in your career and you didn't do a suicide dive or some crazy wacky dive that doesn't really have any benefit.
Fun Skip Bayless in the chat says Big E used to dive. Yes, and we used to fucking hold our breath every time he dove through the ropes.
Every time, because he would fall right on his shoulder. I thought for sure, like, man, this guy, it's just a matter of time. This guy's going to have a shoulder operation. Because he was a big guy, too. And he was always landing with all of that muscle and all that weight right down on his shoulder. But it's just, here's the other thing about it that I think really bugs the shit out of me. A lot of times when they set up these dive spots, especially if you do the group dive, where like you're going to dive out onto a group.
God, bro, I hate this.
And everybody has to bunch together and they wait and they look up and they're like, and they're waiting for the person to dive so they could catch them. Dude, that is the absolute dirt worst.
I hate it.
It looks so bad.
That's easily top 3 pet peeves of mine.
It looks so bad. And people have been hurt. You know, if they do like a moonsault or something, That's what happened to Penelope Ford, which is why we haven't seen her on AEW television. She did, I think, a moonsault, and people really went after Harley Cameron to the point where I think she basically, at least for a period, I don't know if she's still off X, but they basically kind of bullied her off there because they were blaming her for what happened because it looked like she moved out of the way instead of catching her. It's like, well, maybe if we didn't focus so much on always doing dives where people have to get caught on everything, where it looks even more phony, then maybe you wouldn't have that issue. I mean, does everybody need to do it? No.
Quality over quantity, folks. That's the best way to go about it. Thank you guys very much for all of your support. We had upwards towards 3,800, 3,900 I saw at one point here on Tuesday night. Thank you guys very much, man. This was the most viewed, I believe, TNT of 2026. And I said it at the start of WrestleMania season. I'm going to say it now with 2 weeks left to go, less than 2 weeks. It's the place to be to get you caught up on all things WrestleMania. So thank you guys very much. You guys killed it. We're going to get into the super chats right now and then wrap it up for another Tuesday night. Thank you guys again. Follow us on social media at JD from NY206 at Solid Monster. Everything you need for Jason is linked down below in the description. So please go and follow him over there. We had a big week on both of our platforms. I am well on my way to 176. Jason's on his way to 92, I believe, right? 92,000?
Yes, climbing towards 92.
There you go. Continue the
Great
climb.
year, by the way, 92.
Yep. Yes, 92. Best Rumble of all time. Not even going to be topped ever.
No.
Michael Krause with a $2 super chat. JD Jason OTS. How's everyone today? Let's go. Yeah.
Shout out, Michael.
Michael's always here. Give me back shots, Solomos with $4.99. Bianca Belair potentially.
I will not.
No.
I will not do this.
No.
Horrible, horrible act.
No. Bianca potentially returning to help Rhea that inadvertently put her on the shelf for a year is awful booking. Bianca and Jade had no heat. Well, I mean, I don't think people really remember that or care.
Well, I mean, not even that, but like, look, you could always argue it. Like, she's not happy with what Jade has become. I mean, Jade is a very different Jade than the one that she teamed up with. But I just want Bianca to heal up and just get better and then get back whenever she's ready to get back. She is missed.
Very much so. Main event Crowley with a 41 months. What is your take on that Tony Khan interview with Coach and Russo? My take is he loves beating around the bush with answers. I watched.
Yeah.
I watched.
I was going to say, I thought he did a very good job. I thought that Tony, he knew what he was doing when he went on there. And I thought that he had a few answers in there that I thought were really smart, especially the answer when he was talking to Russo about something. Oh, I think Russo was trying to tell him, like, really stick it to WWE. And he came back and told him, well, like you, Vince, I'm a Christian. And so I'm trying harder these days to, like, not take the low road and to, and I thought that was a very smart answer. But, like, they were able to get some stuff out of him that I think really just people haven't asked him about it.
Yeah.
So, he hasn't been asked since the story broke about, his bid many years ago, the $6.9 billion bid on WWE. And so they asked him about that. They asked him about Jericho. That's where he made the comment about how Jericho was either a free agent or he was about to become a free agent, which is, it kind of flies in the face of, like, having time tacked onto his deal. So they asked him about that and some other stuff, but he was more open here than he typically is. You're never going to get him to fully open up. They asked him about Punk a little bit. They kind of talked about that. So I thought it was a good interview, and I thought Tony did a really good job with it. I thought he came prepared. He knew the audience that he was coming into, and I thought he did good with it.
Yeah, and listen, Vince asked him what was in the cup. I've always wanted to ask Tony Khan what was in the cup, and Vince Russo asked him, actually, it's coffee. It's black coffee.
Yes. Now we know the answer.
Now we know. And he stacks his cup one on top of another. So if you see him holding 3 or 4 cups, that's 3 or 4 cups of coffee that he had during his show. So
it's a lot of coffee.
It's a lot of coffee, man.
I drink a lot of coffee.
I do. I just had one during the show here. So it's my third today.
How are you going to go to sleep after having all that coffee?
I won't go to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I'm still not even tired when I lay down. Thank you, Main Event Crowley. Thank you for the question, brother. 41 months. Havili, again, brother, thank you for the $2.50 in Super Chat. We love Havili. Shout out to Brisbane, Australia. Vinny P, $9.99. My mom passed away on the 28th of March. Now lost both my parents by age 29. Just wanted to say thank you for giving me a reason to just zone everything out and not think about things. Love y'all. My thoughts and prayers with you, Vinny. For sure. Thank you for being here, man.
Sorry for your loss, but we are very happy that you can find refuge here in these streams.
We will be here for you, brother. Boss Mo Jax with a $4.99. NXT Stand and Deliver. We got Lola Vice as the new women's champion and Tony D as the new men's NXT champion. Callie Armstrong heading to NXT. Thoughts, Solo and JD. I thought Stand and Deliver was a good show. I have, obviously an affection towards old NXT Black and Gold. It's never going to measure up to what they were. I thought this was a strong show for NXT now. Tony D, I'm a big fan of Tony D. I like the new gimmick. I think he's a badass. He looks, someone mentioned he looked like the Berserker. Was that you or no? Someone else?
No, I didn't come up. He wasn't go, us. He wasn't doing that. I thought he looked like Nick Camarado from AEW a little bit. And then I also said I could see him as like a jacked up Elijah. He kind of looks a little like that. Yeah, the Berserker. I didn't come up with that one. I don't know.
It might have been Don Tony. I don't know. Someone mentioned. I saw someone.
I didn't draw the Berserker connection. But, but I'm glad that he ditched the gimmick because it always had a ceiling.
It did.
Remember, you used to ask me about that. And I
liked it for the time he did it, but you were correct. Nah. I mean, he brought that to the main roster. He's dead in the water.
Yeah, I mean, you're just giving yourself a ceiling right out of the gate. Yeah. So I think that'll work out better for him in the long run.
I also like the Vanity Project. I thought that match with Americanos was good. Those kids are good. Give them a couple of years to kind of grow into it and maybe put some muscle on, and they're a solid act there.
Well, it's interesting that it looks like they're pairing up Blake Monroe with the Vanity Project.
I don't know what they're doing with Blake Monroe. Get her on SmackDown. Seriously. Boss Mo Jackson also with the $4.99. Solo, how would you book Ethan Page once he goes to the main roster? And were you guys fans of Celebrity Deathmatch? TNT for life? 2 thumbs up, my bros.
Yeah. I remember it was a big deal when they had Stone Cold against Vince McMahon and Mills Lane as the referee on
yes, I actually quite enjoyed that myself, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the peak of Austin McMahon. Anything with Austin in it was like the hot thing. Like, I got to check this out. Ethan Page, it's interesting. We talked a lot about the Randy Orton stuff. And one idea that I had, and I talked about this, I might have mentioned this on Friday when I was talking about the initial angle. If they could somehow turn this into something where Randy leads his own version of, call it evolution or legacy or whatever, and all this talk about how, what happened to the days of like Stone Cold and The Rock instead of these 5'5" like little guys. This would be a great spot if they wanted to debut like Royce Keys, let's say, with Randy Orton as his heavy as part of like a small group. Just based on the comments that McAfee made, I don't really know that Ricky Saints would make a lot of sense in that. No. He's not physically the biggest guy, but like that'd be a great spot for a Royce Keys. I mentioned him. I mentioned Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page could work in there. And I even threw out another name if they were looking to call up somebody from NXT who I've been impressed with when I've seen him, and he's got an athletic background, Tavion Heights. Yeah, because he's been down there for a while. I don't know where he is in his progression, but if they were looking to call up a new face and have like a little group with Orton as like the elder statesman, I think that could work. It doesn't need Pat McAfee, but I think something like that could work, and Ethan could be a part of that.
Yeah, I like that spot for him. I think he's going to call up, at least for the men, after Mania, for sure.
Yeah.
Michelle with a $5 super chat. Rock no-showed Mania last year because he didn't get what he wanted, a heel Cody. And this year, if Orton gets the belts, will it be tarnished by McAfee? Well, McAfee said that if Orton doesn't win, he leaves pro wrestling forever. Does that factor into the outcome? Do you think Orton's winning the title, even with him saying that?
I think they probably just telegraphed it.
Yeah.
I believe that Pat McAfee will never again appear on wrestling television the way that I believe that Hangman will never challenge for the AEW World title.
Yeah, I'm going with Orton. Tone C with a $5 super chat. Forgot my headphones, so I listened to the 2 count out loud at work. Someone asked me if I watched WWE, and we started talking about Ober versus Brock. Well, there you go. Told you, it's one of them WrestleMania matches, man, that's going to attract all walks of life. It's a big one. Lord Steph with a $5 super chat. Imagine this horror story. Celebrity Battle Royal in Saudi. The fact that even crossed my mind makes me worry about my mental health. TNT for life. Well, there's a ceasefire now for the next 2 weeks, so we don't know exactly what's going on.
Imagine what the booking of that's going to look like. Saudi Mania, 2027.
No. Baltimore Jackson with its $4.99 male and female superstar of 2026 main roster. NXT breakout star of 2026 male and female. Well, we're only in April.
Yeah, it's a little early.
Yeah. Right now, male superstar, I'm going with Carmelo Hayes or CM Punk. Female superstar on the main roster? I don't know. Is there even one?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's tough. No one stands out above, like head and shoulders above the rest right now. Like Stephanie's the champion, but she hasn't really done much.
No.
Jade, no. Rhea, no. Liv, maybe Liv Morgan.
Maybe Liv Morgan. Maybe AJ Lee.
I'd go with Liv over AJ.
Breakout star of the year for male and female NXT. We don't watch NXT enough to give you an answer to that question.
Yeah, going with Elio LaFleur.
Sure.
I know he's injured. I know he just had surgery. So best wishes to him. He's going to be out for a while.
Zay with a $1.99. What is your top 5 favorite movies of all time?
Just favorite overall?
Overall,
favorite
of all time.
Oh. Well, I mean, Dark Knight for me is number 1.
Yeah. Well, that's on my 5. That's on my top 5 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's in there without question.
Terminator 2, the original Jurassic Park.
Die Hard.
That's for you.
Yes.
I love the original Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I thought that was fantastic. Jaws is my favorite movie of all time.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, Dark Knight, Die Hard, Halloween. I love the original Halloween. How do I not have Goodfellas on there though? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like big budget blockbusters I could put on there, like a Jurassic Park or something like that. But like Goodfellas is a great movie. Heat was a great movie. The Michael Mann movie. They're doing a sequel, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I never really ranked them, but those are some of the ones that are pretty high up there for me.
Hooligram, $5 super chat. Is it good to be alive on a Tuesday night on TNT or what? It always is, brother. Thank you. JD and the Monster giving us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Always. Thank you, brother. Summer BT with a $10 super chat. CM Punk. Listen, that was a great promo last night. Nobody does it better than Punk.
I argued, and some people came at me for this, but I don't give a shit. That was more explosive than the original pipe bomb, and I think might have overall been a better promo than the original pipe bomb.
I wouldn't argue. The
original pipe bomb was more impactful, but as a promo, I think I go with last night's over that one.
No, I would not argue with you. Rated RK20 with a 279. RKO everybody, more like TKO everybody. Yes, I saw an AI generated image of their shirts change from RKO everybody to TKO everybody. That was funny to me. I thought that was great. I think my guy Ross did that. Caleb with a new membership. Thank you, Caleb. Zeno with a 20. Pat fucking McAfee. Solo, I rewatched your rant and never realized until you explained it. It's literally the same shit from last year regarding Cody Rhodes versus an old-timer wanting another championship with celebrity help.
Yes. It's like a carbon copy.
Yep.
Right down to the same building that they were in last year.
Phil Illuminati with a $5 super chat. A funny thing Cody and Punk did was tag each other on Instagram as Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. Didn't know if y'all caught that. I did. They know what they're doing. Baltimore Jack.
That may be the Backlash tag team match.
If Punk and Cody is a tag team, I'll accept it. Just no jelly roll, please. We don't need jelly roll. Baltimore Jackson $9.99. Spamming suicide dives is overkill. It's one of my pet peeves. They barely touch their opponent. The move should be limited or banned. While WWE and AEW do it, it's cringe. I don't see the appeal of the move.
It doesn't even get a reaction half the time anymore.
No.
Like, everything you do in the ring, like, has an inherent risk to it. Like, you could do a leapfrog and you can fucking rupture your Achilles. Like, it's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
So why would you choose to do something that really doesn't need to be done and doesn't really get a reaction half the time, that is more, it is riskier than, your average move, because you're throwing your body out of the ring, either through the ropes, over the top rope. We got guys that do truss dives. You know how many dives I've seen where they go flying through the ropes? And I think this might have been what happened with Io, where their feet hit the top rope.
Yes.
And I think that's what happened with her. And then she took a header right into the floor outside. And I'm like...
Sometimes she does it through the second and third rope. Sometimes she does it through the bottom rope. On that Raw at Madison Square Garden, she did it through the second and third rope.
Yes.
And that's what
she throws herself into the person outside.
Listen, Darby does a great suicide dive. Samoa Joe does a great suicide dive. Io sometimes, I think there is an overabundance of it. I don't like it. JD Solo, what did you guys think of TK's interview with Coach and Russo? Says basic with the $4.99. After the question of how is the creative process and him kind of dancing around without actually giving names on who the writing team is or who the creative team is, I'm like, oh, he didn't answer this question. It got better after that. It was actually fairly entertaining. I give them a lot of credit for really pushing him in some topics, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Jeremy with a 5. Are they going to do this stuff so Rock and Gewurz can come and look like the good guys sometime after Mania? Not after Mania. It's going to be a little bit more than that, but yeah, that's what I predict. I could see it happening. Erasure with a 5. Physically Liv and Stephanie is the most real feud. They've been beating the fuck out of each other. Excited for that match. They have. I don't know why all of a sudden it's still so like fierce, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Liv. She's got a second head.
she does. Yes.
Growing out of her fucking head. Yes. I mean, it's gnarly.
Olivia with a 250. My favorite TNT moment of all time was Solo putting on his glasses to remind JD of his Cena Gunther comments. LOL. JD, any thoughts now in retrospect? No, I stand by what I said there. Jason,
he's doubling down, everybody.
I mean, looking back
he's
at
doubling
it,
down.
It is what it is, man. I don't even think people are talking about it anymore.
Yeah, the ending of that match sucked.
Now we got Pat McAfee on television.
Yeah, and this sucks too. But apparently everything sucks, according to Pat McAfee.
Everything sucks. Aracia, $5 super chat. Why does Finn need the demon for Dominic? And why spoil it in a pre-tape promo when Finn himself said he doesn't like when it's advertised? Why does he need the demon? Because Finn versus Dominic sounds boring. It sounds better with the demon. And they want that entrance in front of 50,000 people, maybe. Why did they advertise it? Like Jason said, to sell tickets. That's all they did it for. Demeter Bullion, doggy, with a $7.99. I'm in desperate need of $7.99 to buy Granny new condom. Please, I'm broke, and so is Granny. If not, Granny versus Triple H at Mania in a hairy, sweaty armpit match. So he gave us, Jason, $7.99, but he also needs $7.99 to buy Granny new condom. You have $7.99 to spare for Demeter Bullion doggy?
No, I if I did, I certainly wouldn't give it to his grandmother to buy a condom. I mean, that's...
Oh my God. Demeter, man, we love you, man. Thank you for the $7.99.
It sounds like Granny's been hitting the streets for a while.
Oh, yeah.
She's a pro.
Yeah. Olivia with a $1 super chat. 2008 suit-wearing heel Chris Jericho was the best. I agree. It's my favorite version of Chris Jericho.
No Country for Old Men, Chris Jericho.
Yes.
That's another great movie, by the way.
That's a fucking fantastic movie. Olivia also with a 1. I enjoyed the learning tree. It was good shit, pal. The sarcasm on you. Sidro with a $2 super chat. Chinese man who created cam lens died. R.I.P. Zoom in. Yes. R.I.P. to Zoom in. Thank you, Sidro. Coach didn't get your joke earlier, Sidro. I think he read it in a way where he didn't realize it was a joke at first. Rochelle with a 2. Why do you see helping Seth? Who do you see helping Seth against the Vision? LA Knight. That's all we got.
Why would anybody help Seth? I mean, he was such an annoying, obnoxious heel. Like, he should have no friends.
I don't know. He wants the world title too. He's got one thing to worry about first before he gets there.
I don't think he should have any help.
And who knows who's going to be the world champion at that point? It might be Roman Reigns. Sidro with the $2 super chat. Old generals never die. Only their privates do. Not as funny, Sidro. Baltimore Jackson with the $9.99. We're finally getting a He-Man movie, so hopefully soon we can get a Thundercats movie. I got to get used to Skeletor's voice, but we only got an Orko cameo. I'm currently rewatching the cartoon. Yeah, the trailer looks great. I'm going to go see it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think it's back-to-back weeks. I think the Mortal Kombat movie is out on the 29th of May, and then the following week is when the Masters of the Universe movie comes out.
Yeah. I haven't seen Mario yet. I got to go see Mario.
Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I take that back. The Mortal Kombat movie, I think, is in mid-May. The Backrooms.
Yeah, she told me about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's on May 29th, and then, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of good stuff coming out.
Caden, no message, $1.99. Thank you, Caden. Baltimore Jackson with the $1.99. Kendall Gray is fire. She's the best. She's hot, too. Yeah, she's a lovely lady. Her in-ring ability is fantastic at this age. Love it. Sidro with the $5. Hear about the guy who collapsed trying to climb Mount Everest. People just found Himalayan there. And why the Navy protect churches? Because it's a house of warships. I like the Himalayan there better.
Yeah, that one was a little bit better.
My guy Venom Supreme with a recommitment. Thank you, brother. I see that Mustang emote next to your name. Baltimore Jackson with a $4.99. Hot take. JC Jane will break out and be a huge star when she gets to the main roster. I feel like she's underrated and just a little underappreciated. She's a good worker. From where she took the title off Stephanie to where she is now, I thought she looked good in that match with Lola and Kendall Gray.
She may eventually take the title off Stephanie again.
Probably. I don't know. We'll see. Where does she end up, you think? Raw or SmackDown?
I think SmackDown definitely needs some help. More than Raw.
Do they call up all of Fatal Influence? Or just give her a new Fatal Influence?
Yeah, I think you could probably call up the whole group. But I'm also expecting Sol Ruka to make her way up soon.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's not already up. I mean, after that Saturday night's main event, they called up Oba. They called up Javon. She beat Bayley. And she's still stuck in NXT.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised she beat Zarya.
I'm not. Zarya doesn't win anything. If you look at her record, she doesn't win anything.
No. She's good, though. I like Zarya. Lord Shura with a $4.99. Triple H resurrecting celebrity deathmatch right now under our noses. Hashtag best for business. Yeah. Arcade the Hedgehog with a $5 super chat. It makes me upset when JD's upset when it comes to both of these awful wrestling companies, AEW and WWE. And I don't know what to feel. What should I do? Well, I mean, WWE right now is heading towards their biggest show of the year, and it's got Pat McAfee. Meanwhile, AEW's got MJF defending the title this Sunday against Kenny Omega. I'm going to go towards MJF and Kenny Omega. For now. AEW is the better television product. Krana with the $2 super chat. Top 3 favorite Kurt Angle matches and comedy segments.
Well, I mean, you got to go with the little cowboy hat with Stone Cold as far as comedy segments.
The Adam Copeland segment where he's reading the cue cards.
That was a good one. There was one with Edge and Christian and the Kazoos. I think, I want to say Kurt was involved in that segment. I think he was. I mean, there were so many of them. Actually, you know what? He came out for a match. This was early, like in 2000, early in his run. He came out for a match on Raw. I think they were on a college campus to face the Godfather. And he came out and he was giving out prophylactics to the people in the crowd for safe sex. That was pretty funny. I remember the Godfather had like this look on his face. Like
yeah.
I mean, matches, my God. Take your pick. You got to go Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. I think that's got to be on there.
That's my number one.
He had a great match at the Rumble in 03 with Benoit. That was probably my favorite of the matches that they had. I mean, he had a great one at No Way Out in 06 with The Undertaker.
That's on my list, too. Rey Mysterio at the Rumble.
Yes. No, not the Rumble. The SummerSlam opener.
SummerSlam. Yeah, that's right. SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 4 right there.
One of the greatest of all time. Brian Lane with a $10 super chat. Hi, JD and Solomon. Your thoughts on Mickey James and Gail Kim and WWE Women's Show on Tuesday, NXT to Wednesday. More airtime, a pay-per-view once a month. It will help get them over. Your thoughts? So they want what Brian's saying is, what do you think about an all-woman show on Tuesday and then move NXT to Wednesday?
I don't think we need any more shows.
No.
I think there's enough weekly wrestling television, and I think probably I would imagine
a good 50% of it is women's matches.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the better probably aspects of the show on Tuesdays is probably the stuff that the women are doing. So why would you remove that from the show?
Base Beers with a $5 super chat. Techno tried to defile the metal, but Techno was proven wrong. You okay? Hollywood guy with a $5 super chat. I think that Ari Emanuel is the second coming of Vince McMahon. I mean, that he is now in charge of creative, and it's his way or else. Well, no, this is only the second time. Well, actually, the third time. He's actually, what is it? Second or third? I've lost count. That he's interjected himself, and it's celebrity involvement. He just wants his celebrity boys there.
Yeah, Vince was very hands-on with everything.
Yeah.
And Ari is not in the day-to-day of creative.
No,
he doesn't give a shit about that. When there's something that he wants done, like he's the one who called Dwayne and said, "Hey, we need you for Elimination Chamber last year." It's all about selling tickets. So if they have tickets to move, or he has a client to promote, then he may rear his head. But otherwise, it's nothing like Vince. Vince was hands-on and what's the word I'm looking for? Micromanaging.
Yes.
In a way that Ari Emanuel does not when it comes to creative.
Tone C with a $2 super chat. Do we see McAfee in the next Expendable movies?
I don't really give a shit because I didn't see any of the Expendables after the first one.
I never saw any.
I couldn't even tell you how many there have been. I know there was at least 2 of them. I mean, how many more did they do? The first one was fun. It was the novelty of it because they had so many big names in there.
Yeah.
I think Steve Austin was in there, but I haven't seen a single one of the other ones they made.
I never seen a single one. Cornell with a $4.99. Triple H on Unreal. Pat McAfee is the face of WWE, but oh my God, Hunter was blindsided by Ari and TKO like people. Paul Levesque is TKO. Stop shielding this guy.
Yeah, he did make that stupid comment, didn't he? Where he goes, some people look at Pat McAfee as the face of WWE today.
Okay.
Like, who on planet Earth has ever looked at WWE and thought, you know what, Pat McAfee is the face of World Wrestling Entertainment? There isn't a single person on the fucking planet who looks at Pat McAfee and thinks he's the face of WWE.
His masters told him to say that. That's why he said it. I don't even think he believes the words coming out of his own mouth.
No, I don't think so either.
Michael Krause with the $2 super chat. Rambo starring Pat McAfee. Get your tickets now. LOL. I won't be getting any tickets to anything Pat McAfee does. True Crime Unleashed with a $5 super chat. What caused the big old goose egg on Liv's face when Stephanie threw her face first into the TV? The TV screen shattered. No, she collided heads with Roxanne Perez. That's what happened. The TV shot was only cherry on top of the nonsense there.
Yeah, I mean, if the headbutt didn't give her the CTE, then maybe the shot to the flat panel did.
Yeah.
But the goose egg on her head was from their heads colliding.
Base Beers with a $2 super chat. I heard Bianca lost a finger. Where'd you hear that one from? I don't know.
Yeah, now where'd you hear that one from? That crazy fucking story.
I don't know. Someone I work with maybe on Tuesday mornings. Tyson Cook with a new membership. Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate you, brother. Base Beers with a 2. Buy, sell. Party with Marty Jannetty or Matt Riddle? Ooh.
I don't know if I would survive if I party with Jannetty, but I'll party with Jannetty, I guess. Well, he's a weird guy.
He is a weird guy.
He's a very weird guy. I would not want to be partying too hard with Marty Jannetty, but I'll go with Jannetty.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same. Alex with a $5 super chat. Brother JD and Solo. So does it seem like we're headed to a Team WWE versus Team TKO War Games match this November? LOL. Brother, we don't even know what the fuck's happening 2 weeks from now. Never mind November.
Yeah, I'm sure they got that all mapped out until the end of the year.
Yeah, Rock has already planned out the rest of his year for WWE, sure.
Rock is in training camp for War Games as we speak. He's got to get ready. It's going to take some time for him to get his body where it needs to be for a War Games match.
Boss Mo Jackson with the 499. McAfee sounds like the name of a coffee, tea, or shake you get from a cafe. People say his name and I get thirsty. I'd like a strawberry McAfee with sugar. Thank you. Laughing emoji.
No, I mean, I hear his name and I feel the need to do a virus scan of my computer.
Yes. I don't think coffee, Boss Mo Jackson, or tea. Base Bears with the 2. Oba, he says, Obama Femi is going to Suplex City. How many suplexes, Jason, is Brock going to give Oba at WrestleMania? 6?
Yeah, I figure half a dozen. It reminds me, there was not a meme, but there was like a graphic or whatever it was. Maybe it was a meme years ago. It was a picture of Brock's body with Obama's head on it. It was like Barack Lesnar, and I always thought that was funny.
Who do we got here? I just lost. Emoji Matt, thank you for the 199. Endless Boredom with a 199. Sounds like SmackDown. Thoughts on TK showing up on Coach and Bro today? We already answered that question. Good on them for pushing TK on a couple of questions. Thought it was entertaining. Master Chief with a 15 months. At this point, just have Orton RKO and punt kick McAfee and boot his ass back to commentary. I don't even want him there.
God, I mean, I was fine without him on TV altogether, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't have anything against him personally, but like, I can't say that like, the one thing I miss right now that WWE television is lacking is the commentary of Pat McAfee. Like, no, I'm okay.
No,
I'm good.
That means we need to remove Corey Graves, and I don't want that at all. Havili with a $50 super chat. Thank you, brother. I made a mistake. I asked you if WrestleMania 17 was 2 nights, if Austin Rock would be most likely to main event night 1, the TLC 2, or the McMahon Street fight. I double-checked, and the main event would be China versus Ivory or Angle versus Benoit. Are we really going back to
China versus Ivory? Is this a joke? Is he serious?
That's what he said. I double-checked, and the main event would be China versus Ivory or Angle versus Benoit.
What does that even mean? You double-checked what? What did you check? It wasn't 2 nights. It wasn't 2 nights though. What is he double-checking?
I'm assuming he's asking if it was to be 2 nights, what would the night 1 and night 2 main events of WrestleMania 17 be? Rock Austin, obviously.
Well, Rock Austin would be night 2, and I can see them doing Vince and Shane on night 1.
Yeah. McMahon not having a main event? Preposterous. Face Beers with the $2 super chat. Is Roman top 20 of all time? Is Jericho top 20 of all time? Roman top 20 of all time?
No.
Jericho? Me, I don't know. I would have to really sit down and kind of come up with 20 names. I don't know if Jericho would be there, honestly.
20 is possible because Jericho's been at this for a long time. And he's gone through so many different phases, and he was in WCW and WWE and AEW, and he was an important part of the beginnings of AEW. So, I mean, when you say top 20, are we saying as a wrestler or just overall sort of? Because if you look at his overall accomplishments, he's done a lot in his career. So I think top 20 is possible for Jericho. I'm on the fence. It's close, but Roman, no.
Now, Roman may be on someone's top 20 in this generation, but our generation, no. It's just...
I mean, the Roman stands are not going to like that.
No. Ira with a 199. When is JC Mateo dethroning Cody? It's a good question. Let's dethrone the MFTs first before we start talking about dethroning Cody. Boss Mo Jackson, 499. I'm going to a cafe and order a McAfee with a strawberry jelly roll. My brain is warped with these names in my head. I don't think about anything food or coffee related with Pat McAfee, Boss Mo Jackson.
Well, when you get your food, then you can go relax on your little yachty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to call him Little Yahtzee, but it's a Little Yachty.
Nah, he's rich enough. He can afford a little yachty for himself.
Yes, he can. I wish we were rich enough to fucking afford a little yachty. Havili with a $10 super chat. Would you do mask versus mask at Mania 42 or Triple Mania between El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano? What would you like to see in season 3 of Unreal? Thank both. You are the greatest of all time. Well, thank you. Havili.
At this point, it's too late for Mania. You may as well just save it for a AAA show.
Yeah.
And then Unreal, honestly, I don't really care for Unreal.
No.
You know, I mean, there are aspects of it where, like, when they feature people like Chelsea Green or Penta this past season, those were cool. That was cool exposure for them. But then I just feel like there's so much other shit that's just so manufactured. I mean, like any other reality show. And I worry that, like, some of the shit that we're seeing now even, like, is done with a season 3 in mind of Unreal. And I just hate that might dictate the creative on the show. So I'm just not a big fan of the concept.
Well, the more that they get Emmy nominations for this Unreal, they're going to keep doing
it. Yeah. So. Oh, forget about it. They're gonna do this until infinity. Are you kidding me? They were dying for Emmy nomination. Now imagine if they win.
I know.
Holy shit. Kevin Dunn's not going to be happy if they win an Emmy and he wasn't there.
Poor Kevin Dunn, man. We feel so sorry for him. They got the cameras rolling all the time, man. Who knows what they're filming? Havili with a $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. Base Beers with a 2. Big Bang Theory or Friday Night SmackDown? Absolutely Big Bang Theory. No doubt.
Yeah, I didn't even watch Big Bang Theory, and I'll pick Big Bang Theory.
Ollie with a $1.99. Hi, JD from Utah. Can't wait for Raw after Mania to be a new era. Yeah. I'm sure it's coming.
Think he opens the show?
Yes.
Especially on ESPN. He'll be the first face we see.
Absolutely. Pow TV with a $4.99. The McAfee move made my friends sell their Mania tickets. I'm still going, but I'm going to Hog in Las Vegas instead of SmackDown, and I'm probably done with live events for a while. Brother, you made the right decision.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, we got
very wise choice you made.
We have a banger show, and I can guarantee you it's better than SmackDown. And I'm not surprised that your friends sold their Mania tickets. I heard from a lot of people that they are not making the drive out to Mania, who actually live in the area that we're going. They're not going.
Well, now that they lifted that stupid ban on the watch parties, you can just go to a watch party for cheaper and hang out with your friends.
Sounds a lot more fun for sure. And cheaper, yes. My vid with a $4.99. With how bad creative has been and can't find any ideas, I'm surprised they haven't used any form or any from Murph's YouTube videos. Murph's YouTube videos? Who's Murph's? You know Murph's?
Murph's or Smurfs?
It says from Murph's YouTube videos.
I have no idea.
You got to be a little bit more descriptive there, bro. What's Murph's? Or is it supposed to be Smurfs? I used to watch the Smurfs.
So did I.
Starboy Bebop with a $1.99. JD, favorite rant from Solo, and Solo, favorite rant from JD. I don't know. I know Jason loves my Call of Duty rant that I
yeah.
that one where
maybe that one. Maybe that one.
Where I just yelled die and he put the Raw logo.
Fucking die. Die. And he's fucking shooting these guys. I'm like, my God, holy shit.
Yeah, man, that's pretty bad.
That one might be it. Everyone, I don't know, everyone says with me it's the Hell in a Cell 2019. I don't know. There's been many of them over the years.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot to rant about, man. It's great when the shows are this fucking terrible. People just love hearing us complain and rant and shit all over the product. Ty Beasy with the $2 super chat. Solo, tell JD about my plan for Tony D versus Brock. Tony D versus Brock?
You got a plan for Tony D against Brock? This is the first I'm hearing of it.
I don't really want to see that.
I don't think that would end well for Tony D.
No. Murph's YouTube. Bro, we don't know who Murph's YouTube is on YouTube. I don't know who that is. Angela Laga with a $100 super chat and a 47-month membership. Thank you, brother. He says, hey, guys, just wanted to mention today, 1 year since an OG passed away, Kevin Castle. He was a good guy who loved wrestling like you guys. Yes. I know Draper held a Spaces today. I hope it's still up because I want to listen to it while I game later.
I popped in there before for a little bit. DT was in there, and a bunch of people were in there. And it's hard to believe today is exactly 1 year to the day that he passed away.
Yep.
And, it's crazy. And like I said in the spaces, I mean, he was always very very kind and very complimentary to me. I know he was a fan of the Sound Off, and we would interact about each episode on social media and stuff. And I always enjoyed my conversations with him. You know, I considered him a friend. I wish we would have had the chance to like get together in person. We never had that chance, but all the best to John and DT and the Suit Boys and everybody. He's missed.
Everybody. I wish those communities, those guys, nothing but the best. And I know when Kev passed away, I was fostering kittens, and I had fostered Ivy, who I have now, as I'm showing you guys my phone. That's my little baby now, and she's with me. And he was a big cat guy. Did it for him. He loved it. So thoughts and prayers to Draper and the family and the Don Tony and Kevin Castle community. We miss him. Angel, thank you, brother. Base beers for the 2. Lower ticket prices. We still don't even have our ice cream bars. Yeah, Cody just partnered with something. I don't know what it was, but I don't know if they're going to be WWE related or something to do with Cody related. I don't know. But Cody's partnered with some ice cream bars ahead of WrestleMania. Base beers for the 2. I thought Randy was on the phone with Skip Bayless. I would have taken Skip over Pat, probably.
Absolutely 100% no. I'll take Pat McAfee over Skip Bayless. Fuck that guy.
So tell me how you really feel about Skip Bayless.
You got your fucking mic up Skip Bayless over Pat McAfee? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Corporal Poon with a $5 super chat. McAfee was the other guy on the phone, eh? This version of Randy Orton is diabolical indeed, with diabolical dog shit television we're getting. Yeah. Let it play out, Corporal. Let it play out. We might be getting a Dwayne Civil War with Triple H. That's what the IWC is saying. We got Nima with a $5 super chat. Which review was worse, Pat McAfee or Hornswoggle as Vince's mystery son? Oh my God.
There have been some bad ones, including the remember the anonymous Raw general manager?
Yes.
That was another one. Where this one ranks, it's pretty high up there.
Imagine every time the fucking general manager had something to say, we get that fucking AOL. What was that, AOL sound they did?
No, it was a text message.
Oh, it was a text message sound, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that, like 5 or 6 times a show? Like, brrr?
Yeah. What, the AOL, what do you think? You've got mail. They didn't play that over them.
No, I don't remember. I thought it was something AOL related.
That would have been fucking annoying, 10 times per show. You've got mail.
Oh my God, man. Those were the fucking days, man. Jesus Christ. Awful. Giants 57 with the $2 super chat. What about the Undertaker WrestleMania dive?
Well, that was very stupid.
It was stupid, but it was a memorable moment. That's when it should be safe for shit like that.
I'm talking specifically about the WrestleMania 25 dive.
Yes.
That was very, very stupid. But see, with Undertaker, he wasn't doing it every match.
No.
That's my point. I'm not saying just outlaw dives all the time with everyone. I'm just saying, when did we get to a point where everybody felt like they had to do it in every single match? When Undertaker did it, because the guy was 6'8", it was like, holy shit. There were some pay-per-views back in like the late 90s where, and again, you get a bunch of guys clustered up outside, but he would do this dive. It's the Roman Reigns dive. He got that from the Undertaker, and he would dive out over the top rope. And then it just became something he started doing every year at WrestleMania. I don't remember what Mania that would have started. Like the first Mania, I remember him doing a dive out of the ring. It might have been 14 against Kane, maybe. And he wouldn't have done it at 15 because it was a Hell in a Cell match. But, if you save it for special occasions, then that's fine. Just don't do it every night.
Yeah. Giants also says, JD, where's the WWE 2K26 rant? There is none because I didn't buy the game. I will never buy
one that you've never played?
No, I didn't buy last year's either. Yeah, it's the same shit. And then the manipulation with the battle pass that they did this year with the whole, they scammed everybody. It's ridiculous. Big Brian with a 37 months. If Liv is out with a concussion and the Kabuki Warriors get inserted into the four-way, would Triple H run back Stephanie versus Io at WrestleMania? That's a good idea. She's got no match.
I mean, that'd be fine with me. Would he do it? I don't know.
He'd have to absolutely have no choices left.
Well, I mean, if it was a choice between that or Stephanie and Raquel, I would go Stephanie and Io.
Yeah. Lord Maestro with the 499 solo. I disagree on your pod. WrestleMania 34 Night 1 main event would be Shinsuke versus AJ. JD never doubted you when you said Triple H was being sabotaged. Love you guys.
Yeah, I didn't put them there because I don't think that WWE would have headlined with them.
No.
I think they would have headlined night one with Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey in her debut against Triple H and Stephanie.
Chicago 4MBK with the $2 super chat. Thanks again for another great show. Well, thank you for being here, brother. Endless Boredom with a 199. EC3 was the most unused NXT call-up ever. Yeah, they made him into a mannequin. He stood around just blanking. What did he do? He just stared off into the distance with this blank emotion.
Basically, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they thought that was going to accomplish, but that was awful. Emoji Matt with a $10 super chat. The only way to save this now is for Travis Scott to come on out, only to be hit with a 2x4 by a returning Jim Duggan, who then wails on everyone. No. I don't want to see Travis Scott ever again. How do you know a nut is mad? He will cash you outside. Pablo Montoya with a $9.99. Hey, do you guys think the NXT call-ups of 2026 have almost lapped the 2024 class of Mello, Breaker, and Dragunov? All three, Javon, Shrek, and Oba, have been on multiple PLEs and posters, even made it to Mania.
I don't know if I'd say
I don't know. Maybe yes.
Yeah, huh? I mean, I don't know if I would say lap them, but yeah, I mean, look at Trek. I mean, Trek's going to be, I think, the breakout star of this year.
Yes.
When this year is over, I think we will look back and look back at him as the breakout star.
Yeah, I agree. Breaker's going to be a future champion. Oba, I think, has more upside than Breaker does. Trick's got the most upside of everybody because I just think he's just like he's transcending. He's gonna be the one they send out to do interviews and talk shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nima with a 5. What were your guys' honest view of Russo as a booker? I think he was one of the worst bookers in the industry, and that the industry has ever seen. I wasn't thinking watching what he did in the Attitude Era. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just having a fucking great time as a high schooler. I wasn't thinking about that. Now looking back at it, Jason, what do you think about it now looking back at it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a time and a place thing. You know, they had to try something different because what they were doing wasn't working, and he kind of ushered in the Crash TV era of wrestling. And in the moment, Crash TV can be a lot of fun and it's very exciting, but it burns out very quickly. And I think, you know, ever since then, people have been trying to kind of recapture the magic of that era. It wasn't just Russo's writing, it was the competition, it was the war between the two companies. It's not really sustainable to book a product like that, you know, which is why he was never able to replicate that same kind of success anywhere else he went. You know, he followed the same philosophy, but he wasn't able to replicate that. I think there were elements of it that could still work, but I just don't think it's not a formula that works today. You know, it's just not a great way to go. Not that the current way is great either, but at that time it was a lot of fun. It's not going to work today the same way.
No. Boots with a $5 super chat. Had a funny thought that made me chuckle. Dave Meltzer getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, whether he wants to or not. Yeah, that made me chuckle too. Let's get Cornette in there before we start talking about anybody else. Well, actually, you know what? Never mind that. Let's get Jim Johnson in there first before we talk about anybody else. B-Money with a $9.99. Next week is Ethan Page, Tony D for the title, and JC versus Lola for the women's title, and Zarya versus Sol Ruka in 2 weeks in a last woman standing match. Do Ethan, Sol, and JC get called up after those matches? Yes. They're due. Cody Snyder with a 2. Lita or Trish? Love Lita. Was never a Trish guy. I go Lita.
You go Lita? I go Trish.
There you go. Blake with a $5 super chat. EO and Tiffany left Mania last year as champion. This year they got nothing. Ridiculous. Turn Tiffany heel already. She's better in that role. I think we both agree there. Tiffany is very boring as a babyface. Trayvon with a $5 super chat. Hey, JD Solo, new to the community. Been entertained by you guys for a minute. Love TNT. Keep it up, gentlemen.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you, Trayvon. Alex with a $5 super chat. Can you guys realistically see a WWE without Triple H as head of creative this time next year, nearing Mania 43 in Saudi?
No. I think that's if there's going to be a move made, I don't think it's made that quickly.
No, yeah. You can't really gauge what they're going to do over there because those tickets are not going to be like the tickets sold here. I like I said, 18 to 24 months is my prediction. Furious Nation with a $4.99. What's up, JD Solo? A little nervous, yet excited for my mom's wedding this Saturday. Couldn't be more happy. Also, what if Riddle was Orton's caller? No, that would have been awful. And congratulations.
Congrats to your mom, though.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah. Joe Max with a $31 super chat. Hello, I'm 23 years old. Young people get judged for not knowing classics. I mean, my favorite movies are Goodfellas and Back to the Future, and I love the original Addams Family from the 60s, and I Dream of Jeannie. Well, brother, at 23 years old, you got some good fucking taste. Those are the days. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Dev Guy with a $4.99. Who do you actually see getting one potential run as world champion in the next 2 years? Balor or Owens? Also, best pizza in New York City for both of you.
You might be able to answer that better than I would.
Owens for sure.
Well, I meant the second question.
Well, it's tough because I don't really go to the city all that often to really gauge on what's good pizza and what's not good pizza. In the Bronx, I love Louie and Ernie's. If you guys know anything about the Bronx, I used to live one block from Louie and Ernie's, so I'm going Louie and Ernie's. And as far as world champion, I know Kevin Owens is off TV now, but I don't think Balor's going to be world champion. I don't.
Yeah, I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Yeah.
I'm not terribly optimistic about Owens either, but if I had to choose between the two, I would go Owens over Balor.
Rebels with a $2 super chat. These clowns at TKO don't have a fucking clue about what happens on screen. No. They might, but they don't give a shit, like Jason said earlier. Redcon with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Redcon. Hey, JD, my question is hypothetical for next year's WrestleMania in Saudi. I'm not saying this will happen, but if we are still in this Iran shit by this time next year, would WrestleMania 43 be relocated? I remember WWE coming once when shit really wasn't DEFCON 5 back then. Well, I know there's a ceasefire over the next 2 weeks. I don't know what that's going to result in. It's tough to say. But, Jason, do you think that they would move it? Obviously, I think they would move it if it really called for it. But the question is where. So,
well, I mean, you move it back to New Orleans or Indianapolis. I mean, Indianapolis is due for one in the next few years.
Yep.
New Orleans was supposed to get it this year.
Yep.
So I'm sure there are contingency plans in place. It would be stupid not to for an event that massive. If there's any sort of danger above and beyond, the usual danger, then they'll have to relocate the event. It's as simple as that. I don't know what their timetable is, though, to make a decision. They can't wait until the last minute, to make that call. So, but it's impossible to say what's going to be happening, honestly, 2 months from now, let alone a year from now.
I could see Los Angeles, too. They go back to Los Angeles again. Lavelle with a $5 super chat. Would the McAfee reveal been slightly better without the mystery build? And does Cena get physical at Mania in some capacity? No to both questions. No. Now, like we said, we didn't need a mystery call to begin with. It's Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. They don't need some fucking stupid mystery call.
Yeah, I don't know why I have this. I lost the picture on the actual YouTube video.
Yeah.
And I just got the circle going round and round.
For what, the stream?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I see some people are mentioning it in the chat too.
Oh. I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting it now too. We just keep it going because I just seen another super chat come in. I hate mentioning his name, but even though Chris Benoit was a great wrestler, what he did to Nancy and Daniel was unforgivable. He'll never ever go into the Hall of Fame. Don't think woman goes in either. Thank you, Furious. Charles with a 45 months. My favorite JD rant was from WWE Super Showdown 2020 with Goldberg and The Fiend. That match was horrendous and still a terrible. Bro, that was awful. That was awful. I'd fucking just blood. My veins were popping out of my fucking neck with that.
Well,
It was awful.
the Fiend was dead and buried that night.
Yeah. Ty Breezy with a $5 super chat. Gotta pronounce it right. LOL. Said like breezy, but one less E. But Solo, I messaged you on Twitter yesterday talking about Tony D versus Brock. Remember?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant okay. Yeah, I think I do remember it now, but I got so many messages. I thought you were talking about a YouTube message.
Hologram is watching the stream just fine. All right, well, we're wrapping up here. We just got a couple more to get through. Juan Ocampo with the 199. Solo's favorite, Alberto Del Dipshit, got arrested. I saw that. Once an abuser, always an abuser. Not surprised.
So I call him Alberto Del Dipshit. Then, now, and forever.
Yep. Furious Nation with the 499. Also showing love to Don Tony tonight as well, with 1 year after Kevin Castle sadly passed away. Gone too soon. Thank you, Furious. NM, $2 Super Jack. Can Cody finally grow a set and say no for once? No, he can't. Even if he did, well, who's going to listen? He's told what to do. Furious with a 199. Thoughts on the recent Oba and Dominic incident? Oba and Dominic?
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the fan interactions where fans tried to get autographs from them on the street, and Dom ignored them, Oba ignored them, and so people made a big fuss about it. How about just not bothering these people in the street?
Yeah.
You know, there may be a time and a place, but if it's something they don't want to do, then just sort of accept it and leave them alone. I mean, I think Oba was getting into an Uber, and there were people. This was in Manhattan. So this had to be when they were at the Garden last week, and they were like, "Oh, come on, just one." He just got in the car, and oh, what a prick!
People are so entitled, man. They don't know you shit. Michael Krause with a 2. Travis versus Pat versus Jelly Roll. Triple threat match. I don't like the way you think, Michael Krause. Thank you, brother. Bradley Xavier with a $5 super chat. Top 20. Taker, Austin, Rock. In no particular order, I'm assuming. Taker, Austin, Rock, Hogan, Cena, HBK, Brett, Savage, Warrior, Andre, Jericho, Flair, Lesnar, Edge, Angle, Eddie, Ray, Orton, Bruno, Roman. A lot of good names.
That's a lot of names you just threw out there.
A lot of great names. I don't know if it's my top 20.
A lot of big names, absolutely.
Joe Max with a $7.99. I was 8 years old living in Syria with no internet when Raw Anonymous GM was revealed, and I thought it was fucking terrible. You and everybody else, man. You and everybody else. Havili with a 10. I mean, I double-checked the TLC 2 and the McMahon Street fight would have been on the same night as Rock versus Austin and Triple H versus Undertaker. The night one would be China versus Ivory or Angle versus Benoit.
No, it wouldn't.
This guy is still
It
on
wouldn't.
this.
I don't know why you're still harping on this. The answer is no. It would have been Vince and Shane or maybe TLC 2.
Oh, my God. Havili, man, we love you, brother. Thank you.
Got to take my word for it, Havili. I wouldn't steer you wrong.
And we got one more here, man. The Kingdom Kid with a $4.99 super chat. If they don't do Asuka and EO, what would the 7th match be for night 2, or do they keep it at 6?
I think they would just keep it at 6.
Yeah.
More time for entrances and commercials.
Great. I can't wait. Thank you guys for a great stream tonight, man. We had upwards towards 3,900 people in here tonight, and we are currently looking at 1,300 likes. You guys killed it. And leave it up to Jason, as always, to sound us off for another great week here on Tuesday night.
Well, I saw Charlotte Flair is going to WrestleMania. I'm sure she's very excited about that. What she's probably not very excited about is that her father is once again ranting on WWE.
Oh, my God.
And apparently he woke up this morning and claims that he was informed by WWE that he can no longer work with the Roots of Fight, I think is a clothing brand. I don't know what that's all about. I think there are other wrestlers, possibly WWE contracted wrestlers, who have some sort of relationship with them, but evidently they told Ric Flair he can't work with them anymore, and so he is not happy about it. And he is threatening to, as Hulk Hogan would say, kind of talk about where all the bodies are buried, and he's making veiled threats, and he actually made the comment that WWE is trying to diminish his legacy. To which I say, WWE does not need to diminish Ric Flair's legacy because Ric Flair does a good job of doing that all by himself.
Gotta love Ric Flair, huh?
But apparently he is saying on Monday he's going to tell all. He's going to be doing an interview with Yahoo Sports.
Always the victim is that Ric Flair, huh?
You think they get to him before Monday and things calm down?
Yes. Yes, they will. Thank you guys for a great stream. We appreciate all the support, man. You guys killed it tonight. We'll be back next week. As always, it'll be WrestleMania week. We got Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, Jason and I are flying out to Vegas. It's going to be a great week. Busy week. Thank you guys. As always, we'll keep you updated for the final week heading into WrestleMania 42. Go follow us on social media. Continue to hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. And we will be live tomorrow night on respective platforms for AEW Dynamite and the Go Home Show for Dynasty this Sunday. We'll see you guys later.